Hello and welcome to ePlan. My name's Jeff Kilburn. I'm the Managing Director for ePlan USA. We're very pleased to have you visit our virtual booth here at the Automation Fair at Home, the first ever virtual Rockwell Automation Fair. Last year we were pleased to have the announcement that ePlan had joined as a founding member Rockwell's Digital Partner Program. And this year we've lined up a lot of material to help you explore how ePlan might help you with your automation needs. Some of this material is recorded, some of it's live, but all day, every day, we have people ready to answer questions via live chat or set up one-on-one meetings, however you would like to interface with us. I want to draw particular attention to some of the panel discussions we put together. That's with customers. Some of our customers you can hear directly from. Some of our partners that we've engaged with, including Rockwell and some of Rockwell's distribution channel partners that we're engaged with now, as well as a member of our cloud team where you can hear how we're approaching cloud solutions here at ePlan. This is set up for you to discover how this fits your individual, your team goals, your corporate goals for increasing efficiencies and how you execute automation solutions. We believe we can deliver value to you, whether an initial concept, through the engineering, onto design build, even in the runtime maintenance. We actually have a demonstration we can show with one of Rockwell's other digital partners, PTC, that shows a very interesting use case with the combined technology of all three organizations that I believe you'll see that there's some unique and thought-provoking ideas behind that. It's operational now, and so I invite you to take a look and see if it's something of interest to you. So we're here for you. We invite you to explore, and we look forward to hearing from you. Enjoy the show, and hope to talk to you soon.
Hola, soy Luis Olvera, director de ePlan para México e Hispanoamérica. Me es un placer darles la bienvenida a este Rockwell Automation Fair. En ePlan, lo más importante es satisfacer a nuestros clientes ayudándolos en la reducción de costos, tiempos y mejora de sus procesos. Espero disfruten toda la información preparada para ustedes. Cuídense y no olviden visitar nuestro booth. Hasta luego.
Hello and welcome to the Rockwell Automation Fair event at home. My name is Zoltan Tellier. I'm a director with ePlan and I work with multiple teams across North and South America. Today I would like to talk to you about our integrated value chain, a concept that we truly believe enables becoming digital for companies in the ecosystem of industrial automation today. As a digital partner of Rockwell, we believe that every company should have a concept to implement digital workflows. The concept I'm going to speak about today is called integrated value chain. It starts with the engineering process. Second step is the sourcing, then the manufacturing, and finally the operations. That's hopefully exactly the same process you experience in your daily work. And now I will speak about the details about this concept. The digital transformation has really taken off. It has changed not only the way we obtain information and communicate, but also our consumption habits and production methods. Panel building and switchgear manufacturing companies are driving the digital transformation in a number of areas. Some production and organizational processes have already been digitized, but the complexity of many production systems is preventing a rapid transition in some cases. The vast majority of people we are talking to on a daily basis envisions a more advanced level of digitalization. Ignoring the digital revolution has now become impossible. As you are well aware, the topics of becoming digital, automating workflows, and last but not least, standardization are truly important to become digital. Let's talk about the engineering process to start this discussion. Let's take a look at the value chain step engineering. The engineering process usually starts with collecting data for the specifications and design phase. Unfortunately, designers are facing various data sources at the beginning, which makes it challenging to create a high-quality digital twin. This high-quality digital twin, however, is a key success factor for a streamlined work preparation and documentation process. So let's talk where our data are coming from and how we enrich them in the ePlan platform. The ePlan data portal is a high-quality engineering data source where engineers and technical designers can download and use component data, for example from Rockwell Automation, via drag and drop. If your ecosystem or internal departments, like sales, are not using ePlan data today, our database-driven platform will allow you to import various native data formats such as DWG, DXF, and Excel lists. Our R&D teams are currently working high speed on importing data from other tools with artificial intelligence technologies to make this process even faster and more convenient for our ePlan ecosystem. Once you have the great data, you can use it to create a digital twin because you have a data-driven process. So you can use exactly the same data you have used before in our expert engineering software ePlan Pro panel. So here you can see from generating circuit diagrams, assembly layouts to fully production integration, we can have it all in this software package. In the next step of manufacturing, I will also talk about how much impact this approach can have in terms of time, cost, and quality. I think also for you, it becomes more and more important to not only find the right product, but also the digital information of these products. So let's talk about the step of sourcing so that we can show you how you really can enable a digital workflow for this step in our integrated value chain. Modern ECAD systems are not isolated solutions. The deep integration into the customer's IT infrastructure makes it possible to transfer automatically generated bill of materials for quotation and material procurement into pre-existing ERP systems. Of course, our customers do not have a greenfield. Everybody has already pre-existing ERP and PDM systems to maintain technical and economical data. So here our ePlan portfolio offers an integration suite. This integration suite streamlines the process into your pre-existing ERP, PDM, and PLM systems. This enables more transparency in your product development process. Just imagine everybody in your ecosystem speaks the same language and shares the same information, always up to date and live available in the cloud. For companies in the ecosystem of industrial automation, the manufacturing process is where they spend most of the time and resources. So let's take a look into how we can streamline this process through our digital workflow. So as you can see here, we break down the manufacturing process into 7 sub-steps. And the good news is that ePlan offers a proven concept that is backed up by a study conducted by a university in Germany that shows that we can decrease the manufacturing time in each and every step, totaling in a time reduction of up to 60% on the shop floor. We make this happen because, again, we use the same data from the previous work step of engineering. These high-quality data can directly be imported and used, for example, for CNC machines or to feed your people on the shop floor with a 100% digital-based wiring information. Our tool, Smart Wiring, enables this 100% digital workflow. It shows you from where to where your worker has to wire, what is the diameter, the size, the treatment of the ferrules. All this information you can have available on a tablet. If in case of revisions, of course, ePlan enables also a fully digital workflow. To monitor the performance of your team, feel free to use the Smart Wiring Operations Monitor. Now we have discussed the engineering, sourcing and manufacturing processes in a digital workflow. But what is the most important part for the end customer or the end user in the ecosystem of industrial automation? Of course, it is the operations. So let's take a look how we can help you to reduce downtime, have a predictable maintenance process, and truly become digital in the step of operations. Let's talk about the operations and how this has an impact on our integrated value chain. I spoke about producing millions of cars before, but also I don't want to exclude you if you're producing continuous goods, so if you're in the process automation world. What do you need today to enable a streamlined operations workflow? Of course, first and foremost, if you want to ramp up a machine, it's all about supplier management. And I know supplier management is one of the most time-consuming tasks if you work in operations. So think about a concept where ePlan can offer you data access via the cloud, and it's possible even for non-ePlan users to make changes, revisions with redlining in the cloud. All of this is available through the web browser with our tool ePlan eView. It's already available today in our ePlan platform, so feel free to use this and become digital today. Thank you very much for your attention today. I hope you enjoyed the integrated value chain of ePlan. I would like to offer you, of course, today to reach out here to our staff on the booth with all the questions you might have. In addition to this, we are available on social media and you can reach my colleagues across the globe through our webpage. Feel also free to leave me a message on LinkedIn if you get a chance. We offer a concept to put the integrated value chain into action today in your business, regardless if you're a small, medium-sized system integrator, OEM, or panel builder, or if you're a large operator who produces millions of cars. We have a concept to assess your current as-is situation and provide you with a concept to become digital today in terms of engineering, sourcing, manufacturing, and operations. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day at the Rockwell Automation Fair event 2020 at home. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sean Mulherin. I am the product manager for ePlan Pre-Planning, ePlan Fluid, and ePlan Electric P8. We hope you are enjoying Rockwell Automation Fair at home. And today I will be giving you an overview on our ePlan solutions and how these solutions can help you design your control systems as efficiently and quickly as possible. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat and we'll go over those right away. Thanks again for joining us, and let's go ahead and get started. Thanks again for joining us, and let's go ahead and get started.
My name is Sean Mulherin. I've been with ePlan since 1993, started at Viches & Partner in 93 in Germany, and in 2000 moved to our division here in the US, at the time in Brookfield, Wisconsin, and then eventually moved to Detroit to support the automotive industry. And since 2013, I've been part of the product management team, and I'm now responsible for ePlan Electric P8, ePlan Fluid, and ePlan Pre-Planning. So the goal of today's presentation is to give you an overview of where ePlan is and how our products can help you make your engineering process and design more efficient. So let's get started. So the ePlan solutions. First of all, how does the landscape look like in our manufacturing process? Well, if we look at the ecosystem of industrial automation, there are multiple different players typically involved in the creation of products and services. We have the component manufacturer that provides the individual components like Rockwell or Siemens or Schneider or ABB. They would provide the components to control the machines. You have Rittal or Hoffman to provide the various different control cabinets to store all of those components. These components are used by the panel builder to assemble the panels. These panel builders carry all of the control or most of the control equipment for machines and systems that are used by OEM and system integrators, and they put systems together for the end user operator to build a product, whether you're building a car, whether you're building a TV, whether you're building any type of component. In that ecosystem, there are multiple different players, and these players need to work together to be able to create the end result. And today, if you look at the different tools used at the different stages of design and engineering, you'll notice that there are many, many different tools used. You'll have Word documents, you'll have Excel sheets, you'll have AutoCAD files, you'll have Visio files. Depending on what CAD tools you use, you'll have different types of files available. And all of this information needs to be transferred between the various different players. So if we look at the engineering process, typically an operator will start with a specification saying, I need to build this product, this is what are my requirements, this is the kind of space I have, these are the factories that are available, and you can start identifying the requirements. Then you will start with the general planning of the system, identifying, okay, what are the requirements to put that product together. Then you might send this information off to an OEM or a system integrator to start putting the machines and systems together. This is where the ePlan project as such gets created. The system integrator or the OEM will create an ePlan project and will start capturing some controls documentation, some controls data. This information then gets detailed. So now we're going into the detail engineering, whether you're doing pneumatics, whether you're doing electric, you're defining all of your wires, your terminals, all of the details specific to your control system and capturing that in your schematics, enriching the ePlan project. Then you need to build a panel for that particular project. So the project is sent to a panel builder, and the panel builder can store or align or insert all those components in an enclosure, and at the same time using the ePlan project, enriching the data with topics like ProPanel and creating a virtual twin of your control cabinet. Then you'll have the sourcing aspect where he will be ordering parts from the various component manufacturer to lay out his control cabinet. And finally, he has to use all of the data that he's created for the control cabinet design to build that cabinet, whether it's drilling the back plates, whether it's cutting the DIN rails to the right length, whether it's cutting the wires to the right length, wiring everything up, and making sure everything works. And then the project is sent back to the system integrator so he can plug everything into the machine and make sure that everything works, the commissioning aspect. And as you go along those various different steps, the ePlan project gets enriched with data and you are adding more and more information to the project. And finally, once the project is complete, you're going to install that system at the OEM, at the end user operator, and you're going to make sure it's running correctly. So now the project of ePlan is complete. This is when you can combine that information and upload that project into the cloud. So we have an environment like ePULSE where you could store your project, and every participant in that project could easily access the project, visualize the project, and use it for redlining if needed. So the end user operator could use it for maintenance, where if there was a fault in the machine while it was running, he could quickly have access to the project information, locate that information, and make sure that he can fix the problem at hand. So that's the ecosystem of industrial automation as we see it from an ePlan perspective, where component manufacturers, panel builders, OEM, system integrators, and operators work together on the same project, on the same platform, sharing the same data. How does this ePlan project get created? This ePlan project gets created using the ePlan solutions. So if you look at the center of this image, you'll see a red bar at the bottom, which is a data storage entity. It's like a database, and that will store all of your control systems data specific to your machine, to your system. And this picture illustrates the various different aspects or tools used for engineering process. So the mechanical engineering starts up where you find tools like 3D modeling tools. You'll have Pro-E, you'll have PTC Creo now, you'll have SolidWorks, CATIA, NX, all of those various different 3D tools to create the mechanical aspect. But without controls, that mechanical model won't move, won't create movement. So therefore, all of the controls aspect is everything you see in red, where you'll use tools like pre-planning to design some basic engineering topics. You'll use P8 to design some control engineering, ProPanel to do some control panels. And then finally, you have the software engineering aspect to program all of that system and make sure that it runs correctly. Down below, you'll find ERP PDM systems. So every company has ERP systems or PDM systems, and we need to integrate or interface information to those systems. And up top, you'll have topics that you'll find in the cloud, like our data portal, which contains parts that you can use in your engineering, eBuild to generate schematics, and eView to visualize the schematics and also create different redlining workflows to enhance your workflow. This information is used to generate the ePlan project. So you work on a common data model, whether you're working in your process engineering, whether you're working in your fluid power engineering or electrical engineering, and at the end you have your ePlan project. So let's take a look at those individual solutions a little bit more in depth. Let's start with ePlan pre-planning. ePlan pre-planning is the tool that we use up front for capturing information early on in the stage. We can use pre-planning in the world of process engineering. So if you need to design PFDs or P&IDs, process instrumentation diagrams or process flow diagrams, ePlan provides libraries that you can easily use to place all of the symbols on a sheet and connect everything together and already capture your control equipment for process systems. You can also do your plant cabling if necessary to start laying out all of the cables that are needed up front to be routed in trenches, for example, during the building process. You can also structure the data, and that's a very important aspect of ePlan, is the capability to structure your information. Today, a lot of users use Excel sheets to capture all of their instrumentation, to capture all of their actuators, all of their sensors. However, Excel is not a structuring tool, it's just a capturing tool. So if you want to see how many items you've got in a specific section, you have to use filters, sorting items, and you have to kind of organize the data within the Excel sheet. Here you have a clear view of how your system or plant or process is organized, and you can capture different structures, you can capture different objects and lay them out in a very organized fashion so you can easily recognize them and find them and work with them. Then you can also generate documentation directly out of the system, such as data sheets. If you need to order temperature sensors, pressure sensors, flow sensors from a manufacturer, and you need to identify what are the parameters, what are the minimum values, the maximum values, what are the environmental considerations that are needed for those particular devices, all of that can be generated into a data sheet and sent to the manufacturer to provide you with the right components. So these types of documents can be generated automatically. Cable pre-planning, as I mentioned, you can also pre-plan your cables, meaning that upfront you need to know how many sensors around in one area of your plant you'll have and where is your DCS system so you can run all of your cables. So those are typically topics that are done early on in your engineering phase, and these can also be captured in ePlan pre-planning. Important as well is the quote and estimate type of document needed. You need to be able to understand a system, how much is it going to cost, and also how long is it going to take to build. Well, pre-planning can capture not only the controls objects, but all of your objects that are needed for quoting and planning, and it can summarize all those values. So you can see in a sheet here a summary of your complete system, identifying the amount of inputs and outputs and signals needed for that system, and also the amount of time needed for planning, construction, software, as well as the total cost. So these are just examples of how quickly and early on in the process you can use pre-planning for quoting purposes. ePlan pre-planning can also be used in the building automation environment. If you have systems like air handling units or HVAC systems, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, you can easily plan and design those systems in pre-planning up front, and from there you can derive all of the control systems for those various different systems. So it's a tie-in between pre-planning from a building perspective and also ePlan Electric P8 for controlling that particular building. So there's an aspect of P&ID as well for all of your water and wastewater system within a building that can all be linked together for building automation. This is what a drawing could look like from a design perspective, where you capture all of your sensors, your measuring devices, you capture your filters, your fans, your ventilators, your air conditioning systems to cool and heat the air, which coming from the outside all the way into the building, and identify the control system needed for it. You can also use architectural layouts. So if you have tools like AutoCAD or Autodesk Revit, you could export information from Revit in an Excel file format and import that data into ePlan so that you could identify all the control systems and start planning all of your wiring diagrams and your control panels in ePlan. So we can work together with those different types of systems. You can again structure your data. So here you have a clear view of your building. You can see which level or which floor you're in, if you're in the basement on the first floor, and then which room, and then which area of that room you're talking about. And for each area, each zone, each specific level, you can capture all of the sensors, all of the actuators needed for your particular building system. So a very easy way to capture your control system. ePlan pre-planning can also be used for OEM and system integrators. You can use a blank canvas to start laying out graphically your mechanical system. So in an example of a conveyor system, you can put your different segments of your conveyor, and as you lay out your system graphically, you will also be capturing a structure of your system. But not only just a location structure, you'll also be identifying all of the actuators and sensors of that particular system. So again, right there up front in the planning phase, you can start understanding how many motors you will need, how many IOs and how many signals you will need, and you can also use it for quoting purposes. So you can import DXF or DWG drawings from AutoCAD, and you can use those as a graphical background to start also capturing your control system graphically on top of that particular DXF or DWG drawing. If you're working in the MCC or switchgear business and you need to lay out your switchgear cabinets, you need to lay out your systems and all of your buckets, instead of doing graphically or using Visio or even a CAD system to kind of graphically capture it, why not graphically capture it as well as logically? Meaning that behind each one of those buckets, you'll have the control system needed for that particular bucket, identifying the protection devices, identifying if you need a transformer, all of the various equipment needed per bucket can be captured up front during this elevation drawing layout. So you can create your elevation drawings easily in ePlan, and behind the elevation drawings, again, you capture all of your control system, identifying the various different systems, the various different positions, and in each position you can capture the bucket and also identify the size of that particular bucket needed to drive your equipment. And finally, ePlan pre-planning can also import and export data. As I mentioned earlier on, you could use Autodesk Revit to kind of capture certain information from a building perspective and then send this information to pre-planning to import the data and continue your controls design to lay out all of your control cabinets, for example. So if you have an Excel sheet of, if you have an instrumentation list, if you have a motor list, if you have a sensor list, if you have an I/O list or signal list, all of those types of Excel sheets can easily be imported in pre-planning and again create a structured view of your system. And from that structured view, you can then drive all of your detail engineering all the way down to your control cabinet very easily. Let's move on to ePlan Fluid. So when we talk about ePlan Fluid, we look at fluid power engineering. So fluid power engineering covers 4 different topics: pneumatics, hydraulics, cooling, and lubrication. So these are the uses of air or oil to actually create movement, create power transfer if needed on any given system. So we provide libraries that support the ISO representation of the symbology. The nomenclature can be completely adjusted to your needs, and we can also design all of the control system from a pneumatic aspect. So whether you're using valve manifolds, whether you're using cylinders, whether you're using vacuum systems, you can use ePlan Fluid to design all of your pneumatic control system needed for that environment. You can also here design your hydraulic system. So if you work in mobile hydraulics or you have press systems where you need a hydraulic system to drive a cylinder, you have here your tank with your hydraulic pump, with your motors, and all of your control system for that particular hydraulic system. So this can also be captured completely inside of ePlan Fluid. Then you can, from Fluid, click on a button and generate a parts list. So bill of material is generated from the drawings. So that is the big difference. You don't carry a bill of material separately in an Excel sheet and your drawings in a CAD environment. Both of those environments are merged. And now wherever you have your schematics or your pneumatic diagrams, you also have your bill of materials. So with the click of a button, you can easily generate your parts lists. ePlan Electric P8 allows you to design all of your electrical control systems. So topics like single line diagrams, you can easily capture using P8. You can design your control circuits, you can design your PLCs, your DCSs, your HMI for your machine control. All of the things electrical can be captured and designed using ePlan Electric P8. Here we've got an overview of the machine and we can capture all of the cable trays. So cable trays will identify the length of a particular segment, and by capturing and by creating your single line drawings, for example, you know which devices are connected with what, and the system could route the cables through these cable trays and give you cable length calculation. So this is a 2D approach to automatically calculating all of your cable lengths using 2D views. Here we have a motor control in a functional aspect, so you can either represent the motor on the same page as your control equipment. So here you see IOs as well as your actuator on the same page. It's a very easy view to troubleshoot your system, so you know if this motor fails, you know exactly which input, which output are being used to control it, and you can access all the equipment specific to that particular function. Here you can view an IEC layout. So whether you're drawing for the European market or the North American market or the Russian market using GOST norm or the China market using the GB norm, you can design using ePlan with the right symbology and the right terminology needed for those specific markets. Here's an example of loop diagrams. So if you have a PNID that you've designed in pre-planning or you imported data through an instrumentation list, you can map all of this data to your loop diagrams and generate these loop diagrams through typicals or templates that you can easily drag and drop in your system. Here we'll see an interconnect diagram. These interconnect diagrams are used often when you have various different embedded systems, or like inside of a car you have multiple different modules that need to be connected together. And this information can also be used as a starting point to create wire harnesses. So in ePlan Electric P8 you could design all of your control equipment for wire harnessing later on in your environment. And finally, ePlan P8, with a click of a button, you can generate a parts list. So the schematics is your parts list. So the beauty of this is that you don't have to double check whether everything in your bill of material is also on your schematics or vice versa. They all completely integrated. So if you are missing something on your bill of material, that means it's not in the schematics. And if you're missing something in the schematics, that means it's not in the bill of material. So you'll make sure by creating a correct schematics that you have a correct bill of material as well. ePlan Pro Panel, that's the digital twin of your control cabinet. So why 3D? Well, it's a lot easier to visualize a control cabinet in 3D and make sure everything works. However, the challenge today has always been that 3D tools have always been geared towards modeling. So you had to be mechanically inclined or have a mechanical degree to be able to understand how things fit, and you would extrude your models and you would create 3D models on the fly or as needed, and that was very tedious, or it was very challenging for controls designers or even controls engineers. Why? Because they don't need that amount of detail and they don't need that amount of complexity in a tool to do their job. So we created ProPanel as a very simplistic approach to 3D. You don't create anything in 3D. You don't extrude models. You don't create a push button. You don't create a motor controls center, or you don't create a variable frequency drive. What you do is you download a 3D model from a manufacturer, whether it's from Rockwell, from Festo, from Siemens, ABB, and you can simply place those components in 3D in those enclosures. So it's a very simple 3D tool made for controls designers, so they don't have to get lost in the complexity of 3D modeling tools. So this allows the user to quickly understand how his control cabinet is going to look like. It's very visual, very easy to use, and the user can still identify 2D layouts to easily place his components. So if you're designing anything from an MCC switchgear to control cabinets, marshalling cabinets, DCS cabinets, even fluid power like pneumatic cabinets, you can use ePlan to design that. Here we see some applications using copper bar or bus bars. Those can also be designed in ProPanel, and these are just different views. Here we've got a extraction of the copper information. So if you have a bus bar, a copper bus bar in 3D, you can generate this drawing just by extracting the information from 3D and creating a manufacturing documentation for that particular copper bar. Here you can see information regarding the wiring. So if you look at Electric P8 and you look at the connectivity between the components, the wires can then be routed in 3D, the length can be calculated, and you can use that data to automatically drive wire fabrication machines, for example. Here's an example of a pneumatic control cabinet. So if you have pneumatic equipment, valve manifolds, air preparation units, and you need to show the tubes going in and out of the system, this can be done in 3D using ProPanel. So you can do all of your tube length calculations to easily connect that control cabinet afterwards. Here's an example of a hydraulic power unit where you have the tank, the oil tank at the bottom. You've got a motor with the motor pump, and that prepares the oil, so you can see things like pipes. These can all be designed in 3D using ePlan ProPanel to make sure that you have the right length and the right bending angles for those particular systems. You can generate all of this documentation with a click of a button. So all of your 2D views now are just a result of the 3D. So you can just simply specify an area and say in that area, I want to see the back plate in 2D from the front, and it automatically generates that view. So all of the dimensioning, all of the drilling information, all of that is already in the 3D model. So all it is just being displayed and extracted for production if needed. So a very useful way of generating documentation. ePlan Harness Pro D is the tool used to design all of your cables and wires inside of a closed compartment. Let's say a car. If you remove the body of the car, you'll see around the structure of the car, you'll see a whole bunch of cables going around. Like you can see here, this nice little Bentley. If you take it off, then you can see all of the wires and the harness system within that car. So you need a tool to be able to combine the electrical 2D as well as the 3D model of any given object to be able to understand and identify the routes of the various different cables. And this is what harness does. So here's the view of the harness once it's extracted and laid in 2D, but you need to manufacture this harness like 500 times, 1,000 times. So you use what they call nail boards, and these nail boards need to be created. So to take a 3D model using Harness Pro D, you can import the 3D model. You can overlay on top of the 3D model your wiring diagram imported from Electric P8, and you can route all of the wires around that 3D model, giving you your harness. So that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and all of the harness documentation is created from this particular 3D model. So you can import a SolidWorks model, you can import a Creo model, you can import an NX model or CATIA model, and you can overlay all of the wiring information from Electric P8, and then you can create your harness from those particular applications. So if you're looking at mobile technology, whether it's buses, whether it's trucks, whether it's special vehicles, or you have inside of cars, you have all sorts of different control systems that need to be designed. Harness Pro D is the tool for that. You can also use Harness Pro D to do your field wiring. So if you want to go from a control cabinet on a machine all the way to the sensor or the actuator on the machine, the Harness Pro D can help you lay out all of your cables and do cable length calculations, so it makes it easier for the users afterwards to hook up all of their cables. Here's the result, which is your nail board that gives you the manufacturing information for putting the harness together. Then we have the ePlan data portal. As you saw earlier on, it's part of our cloud application. So the ePlan data portal provides you with over 950,000 components that are available for download. Rockwell alone provides over 30,000 components online in the data portal. So a user that needs a variable frequency drive just goes to the data portal, searches the part number, clicks on the part number, and just downloads it into his schematics. So that way he can easily use that component. Here you've got an example of a VFD or even a circuit breaker or just a breaker, and associate that breaker. You have the 3D model, you also have the schematics, you have the wiring diagram, and you can drag and drop any of those elements into your design very easily and very quickly. The beauty of the data portal is it's managed by ePlan, but the data is provided by the manufacturers. So the manufacturers vet the information, give us the information, and you can then use that information. So it's a really nice environment to leverage design data and make your design again more efficient. Then we look into production. When we look at the control cabinets and designing those control cabinets, now you have to build those cabinets. So there are various different tools and systems that can be used to build or help you build those cabinets more quickly and more efficiently. The example here is the Perforex machine from Rittal, where you just lock in your back plate and then you just lock it in here and you download the information from ProPanel, because ProPanel is the digital twin of that control cabinet and knows exactly where the holes are. So you just download the model, lock in the control cabinet, press a button, start, and walk away. And 20 minutes later, or sometimes 15 minutes later, the entire backplate is already drilled and cutouts and all tapped, and everything is just ready to go, ready to be installed. Here's the example of a laser cutter. So this is a similar machine as the Perforex, except it doesn't use drill bits, it uses laser. So you can, again, drill your control cabinet automatically. Here we've got the ATEX machine. This is a machine that helps you cut and install your terminal strips automatically. If you have a marshalling panel, you might have hundreds of different terminals on a terminal strip. So snapping those terminals in place and labeling them correctly is probably a tedious task. Here you just simply download the terminal strip design from ePlan, and you know exactly how many terminals you are, you know which type of terminals, you know the order, you know the labels. So now the system can just pull those terminals, snap them directly onto the twin rail, and automatically provide you with a completed terminal strip ready for install. So it's a very useful machine for generating terminal strips. And finally, we have here the wire terminal, which is a machine that helps you to cut the wires to length. So it can pull wires from over 32 different spools of wire colors and wire gauges. It'll pull the right wire, pull it to length, it'll label it, it'll crimp it, and it'll provide it for you to be installed. So you know exactly which wire goes where, from where to where. And we have tools again like smart wiring that'll present you, instead of looking at the schematics, it'll present you with a wire list, source, target, wire length, label, and then you can easily wire it, and once you're done you just check the marks and done, and then you can see exactly how many wires you've already wired and how many more you have to go. So it's a very useful tool for wiring inside of a control cabinet more efficiently. PLC DCS information. A lot of data for PLC programming is available in the schematics and needs to be transferred to your software programming environment. So whether you use Rockwell Studio 5000, whether you use the TIA portal from Siemens, whether you use Mitsubishi IQWorks, or you use Beckhoff TwinCat, depending on what software tool you use to program your PLC, the data from the schematics is required for that software. So you can easily interface that information between the various different systems. So we use Automation ML as a standardized interface between the different systems, and you can transfer the information from ePlan to the PLC software back and forth. ePlan Integration Suite allows you to integrate our software solutions with ERP and PDM systems. So whether you're using Siemens Teamcenter, Windchill, ProCAD, Autodesk Vault, SAP, or others, we can integrate ePlan into those different systems. So that way a bill of materials from SAP can be transferred to ePlan, and then an updated ePlan bill of material can be transferred back to SAP for purchasing, for example. Or the design documentation from the platform can be uploaded to Windchill or can be uploaded to Siemens Teamcenter for storage and management and made available for business applications. So again, we have various different interfaces that we can easily integrate into your existing business solutions. And finally, ePULSE, which is our cloud-based engineering ecosystem. So we created an environment in the cloud which is called ePULSE, and in that environment, in that ecosystem, we have various different applications. One application is eView. eView is the online viewer. So you design your system using the ePlan solutions, you click on a button, it uploads that project to the cloud. Now in the cloud, anybody with a browser, with a web browser, can view and visualize the project. And he can also make redlinings if necessary, and this information is sent back to engineering so they can update the prints, make the changes, and publish a new version. So we use Azure Cloud from Microsoft to provide all of our cloud-based services, and again it provides you with a huge amount of benefits in terms of collaboration, easy access. You don't have to manage and maintain all of your IT hardware to store all of the data. So there's a lot of value in using the cloud as a service. And here, added value again provides new workflows for installation, service, and maintenance that will make your environment a lot more easier to use and access. Here we have a tool called eBuild. eBuild is a configurator online. So if you have certain circuits like motor starter circuits or distribution circuits that just need to be configured and generated, you can use eBuild to quickly put these systems together, click on a button, and auto-generate your designs. So again, a huge benefit in that aspect, and that can also be available either in the cloud or even on-premise. And finally, the EEC, which is our ePlan engineering configuration, is a high-level tool that allows you to build a modular system. So using a library of blocks or a library of circuits. These circuits are not just static, they're configurable. So using parameters, you can adjust those circuits. You plug these circuits into a configurator, and based on the configuration you select, you can auto-generate your quote, auto-generate your BOM, auto-generate your 3D model, auto-generate your schematics, auto-generate your PLC, and auto-generate all of your manufacturing documentation or manufacturing programs needed. So it's a really, really powerful tool, and you can generate now a lot of tasks that are today tedious in the engineering process. So really, really powerful approach right there. So again, this is an overview of the solutions, and what I'll do now is jump into the software to give you a quick overview of how that interface looks like. So if we switch over to ePlan, first of all, you can use pre-planning, and this is the pre-planning approach where I import a layout of my system. So layouts, I can go to my pages, I can import DXF, DWG files from external applications and use them as a background. And as you notice here, I can actually select this object, but I can also switch it back and say this is a background object. So now I can't even click on it, I can't move it. So all of these objects are now going to be a nuisance, so to speak, in my design process. Now I'd like to capture the control system. So instead of trying to type the information in an Excel sheet or in a CAD environment, I simply select, okay, I need a motor. I've got a conveyor belt. I'm going to drop in a motor right here for that particular section. I'm going to identify the motor. This is going to go into my machine, onto my parts preparation segment. So just move it over here and okay. Then the system's going to say you've got different configurations for that motor, different motor sizes. And this information will also influence my motor control starter circuit. So let's say I'm going to select here a 2 horsepower motor, and then I've already got it defined. Now I'm going to select a motor for this particular area here. I'm going to drop it in here. This motor is going to go into my part grinding area. And this time I'll need a motor that's a little bit stronger. I'm going to use a 4 horsepower motor. And now finally, for the last segment of my conveyor belt, I'm going to place again a motor in my parts processing system. And this is going to be just a smaller motor just to run the conveyor belt, which is about 1 horsepower. So you can see a graphical capture of my control system. I also have some pneumatic cylinders here that I need to activate my grinders or to push my grinders into place. So I'm just going to drop in those 2 cylinders, and you can see here these 2 cylinders are now available for my part grinding area. So all I did was just graphically capture some controls equipment, and logically here in pre-planning you can already see that in my parts preparation I've got a motor, and this motor is, I've got my motor 2. This one should be here in my parts grinding area, so I'm just going to move it across. So you can see here using drag and drop you can easily move components from one area to another. Behind each one of these objects I also have my data. So here's my motor 2. I've got a description, I've got my technical description, but I also have information regarding construction, planning, and software. Here, for each one of these objects, I can identify how long is it going to take to build the system, how long is it going to take to plan the system, and also to program it, and how much is it going to cost. This information can be used for quoting purposes. So now if I wanted to go to a report, right now I've got this report that doesn't have any information on it. I'm just going to update it, and now suddenly it's going to capture all of my control equipment, and you can see here I've got my pneumatic cylinders, I've got my 3 motors. It identifies how many IOs, how many signals I need for each one of them. So I need 10 digital outputs, 13 digital inputs. I need 5 hours of planning, 16 hours of construction, 8 hours of software for a total price of $8,500. So this is a way to quickly capture quoting information by simply doing a graphical layout of your system. I need a control cabinet, so I'm just going to right click here. I'm going to insert a macro, which is my enclosure. So I'm just going to go here to pre-planning, machine layout, and here's my enclosure. So this enclosure will capture things like my main disconnect and maybe a power supply for my PLC system. So now I need to start my design. To do that, all I have to do, because the objects were already created inside of pre-planning, I can just use drag and drop. So here I've got a pneumatic control system, an air preparation unit. Here are my two, here's my valve manifold, so I can look at my cylinder 1, cylinder 2. I'm just going to drag and drop those two cylinders here on my page, and here I can just place them. So you can see now how easy it becomes to lay out the control system from a pneumatic perspective. Then I'm going to do the same thing here for my electrical circuit. First, I'm going to take my enclosure, and I'm going to simply drag this enclosure here into my drawing, and it's going to create a new page number 11. And as you can see, I got a page with a main disconnect, and this main disconnect, I've also got a PLC 24-volt supply. Then I'm going to go to my machine layout, select my motors, motor 1 and motor 2. These two, I'm just going to drag them in here. And now behind it again, I've got a control circuit for that. So I'm just going to drop it in here, 1 and 2. Yeah. And as you can see, the sizes of the motors as well was already transferred in part preparation, exactly the information coming from pre-planning. So if I go to my other machine layout page, I'm going to take this third motor and just drag it into here and move it over there. Now for my cylinder, I've got some extended and retracted sensors, so I'm just going to drag those onto here, and of course the actuator that starts the cylinder. So using that, I can just simply drag and drop my components right there. Perfect. So now that I've got my control system laid out, I'd like to start assigning some I/O. From an I/O perspective, if I look at my PLC I/O, I can view all of the information. I can see I've got a couple of inputs here, I've got a couple of outputs, couple of inputs, couple of outputs. These were captured as I was laying out my control system. However, I would like to use a configuration that comes from, for example, a PLC programming environment like the TIA portal or Studio 5000 Architect or even IAB. So using Automation ML, I can import a configuration. So I don't have any one of these software running on my machine right now, but I'm going to simply import a file, and this file is going to give me a configuration which will include a rack, a controller. So and you see I got 4 devices, I got 1 CPU, and these are my components that came from my hardware configuration. So now if I change the view and I look at a rack-oriented view, I got my configuration project, I got my PLC, I've got my controller, I've got my input, and I've got my output. So using external tools, you can do your hardware configuration and simply import that. Now I'd like to map this information from ePlan into this hardware configuration. So let's just activate my digital inputs. I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to map these inputs to use connection point blockwise. So these are the inputs in my schematics. Now I'm going to select the inputs from the hardware configuration that I imported. And now I can just simply say OK. And if you now look at this information in schematics, now it knows exactly which rack, which slot, and all of the information associated. So you can see also connection point number 8, connection point number 11, connection point number 12. These were auto-transferred from that. And now if I wanted to, I could go to my PLC overview. And in my PLC overview, I could easily look at my PLC. And let's just take the filter off. Look at this particular PLC card, and I can just drag this onto my overview page. Now I would view the entire PLC card, and I could just place it, and as you can see, all the information in regards to the IOs is then laid out and captured. So now you know how to manage that. And of course, if you want to click on any one of these devices, you can navigate back to the cross-reference and jump into the schematics and know exactly which point you're looking at. So a very easy way in ePlan to manage all of your IOs specific to a design environment and making sure that they are assigned to the right hardware. So now you really don't have to use Excel sheets to manage your hardware layout. You can import all of your hardware information in ePlan and manage it right there and then. So finally, the aspect that's also really interesting is the 3D aspect. If I have here a 3D space, so I haven't changed the software, it's still the same environment, but I'm going to create a 3D layout. So I'm going to create a new layout space, and in this layout space, I'm going to start inserting that control cabinet. So in here, I've got a 3D mounting layout. Here's my cabinet I inserted earlier on. So by drag and drop, now I've got a 3D view of that control cabinet. And I can lay out or identify my mounting panel. I can show just the mounting panel. Then now I could actually select a front view of that panel and start laying out my control cabinet. So inserting topics like wire duct, inserting DIN rails are just very, very easy. So you select the part number. The part number identifies the physical characteristics of that component. And then I can just simply now just drop it in here and quickly just lay out a system. So you can also snap to existing objects if needed. Yep. And now if I insert a mounting rail, again, you select the part number. This will identify the profile and the type of part that you're using. I'm going to adopt length from here to here, and also click adopt length. I'm going to place one down here. So you can use coordinates and everything if you need to so I'm going to copy and paste this, for example. Copy and paste. Just insert a new wire duct. Right click, adopt length. This one, and just place it down here. So here I've created a couple of DIN rails and wire ducts, and now I can take all of my components and start laying them out. So here I've got my main disconnect. I'm going to drop it on here. Then I'm going to take my contactors or my motor overload switches, and I'm just going to place them here. I'm going to take my contactors, drop them in here. So you can see, even if you don't have a 3D representation of a particular component, it will still give you the physical aspects using X, Y, and Z. And that way you can quickly and easily visualize that particular panel. Then I can take my terminal strips and download my terminal strips and place them here on this particular DIN rail. And then I can also now, based on the schematics that I have, I can highlight the entire thing, and I can go and say route my system. And all of the wires are then going to be routed within the control cabinet. So each wire now can be measured in terms of length. And if you go and view, you can also view the drilling view, and this will show you exactly, for example, the hole patterns for your DIN rail, and this information could be sent to a Perforex machine for automatic drilling. So that kind of summarizes the topic of our solutions portfolio, giving you a bit of an idea, hopefully a better understanding of what solutions we have and how they all work together. So again, providing you from the overview, capturing your components very easily, all the way to your details engineering, to your 3D layout, and also generating all the reports needed for the application.
I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. Be sure to stop by the ePlan Experience booth at the Rockwell Automation Fair at home. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Hello, my name is Debbie Raimundo, and I am the marketing lead for ePlan USA. Joining me today are some team members out of the Houston office, who are Alessandro Biondi, Kruno Kotnohorsky, and Reem Elasu.
Okay, speaking about best memories with ePlan, obviously it's always great if you see customers succeed. Right? On a private base, what ePlan offers us is a lot of traveling. I've been in my life with ePlan already at 11 different countries. It's a data for customer visits, for fairs like the Rockwell Fair, or for company meetings. If I have to summarize what the best memory was at ePlan, when I first traveled to the United States and saw the Chicago skyline for the very first time, then I thought, yeah, I'm here.
All right, so if you ask me what is my best memory working at ePlan, well, that's actually a tough question to answer because I have too many memories to share. But the top two, I would say, the global sales meeting that we had last year in Germany. So that gave us the chance to meet the ePlan colleagues from all over the world. So ePlan China, Brazil, Germany, France. So yeah, it was very good to meet all the people behind the screens coming from different countries, see what they do and what they recommend from their side. The second good memory that I have is actually for my team here in Houston, when I was pregnant and I was craving Chick-fil-A all the time. So I made the guys go to Chick-fil-A every other day to have the same thing for at least 3 months, and no one complained. So yeah, I'm definitely blessed to have these guys working with me in the same office.
One of my favorite memories of working with ePlan was when I was relatively new and I attended the Rockwell Automation Fair in Chicago. It was really impressive to see the size. I'd always been at events as an attendee, but never as a participant in the event, and it was really cool to see customers all over from the U.S. Obviously, we're in Houston and we deal with our customers here, but to see other industries that are not prominent here in the local area, and just see the organization as well. That was a really cool memory that I can probably pinpoint. And then obviously the day-to-day, one of my favorite parts of working with ePlan is primarily the people, the team that we have here in Houston, and also all across the U.S. Really ambitious and driven team. And everybody is really on the same page and trying to help our customers, which is really nice.
So my favorite part of work with ePlan is diversity. Every week is different than the previous week. Every new week we discuss solutions for our customers with our colleagues. We have an amazing team here in Houston with sales, inside sales, and professional services. We're working tightly together, and yeah, that's what it's really awesome.
One of the coolest or greatest thing that I think our customers get from ePlan is not only the state-of-the-art technology that we provide and the solutions, but it's also the benefit that they get from our also the knowledge of our team, and myself, Reem, and Kruno, we really engage with our customers, and they get the benefit of all of our combined experiences, and they can really leverage our experience, our know-how to help them optimize their own processes and ultimately benefiting their business.
So my answer definitely will complete what Alessandro and Bruno said. It's the diversity that's my favorite part working at ePlan. So either whenever we're talking about the team, so we have different academic backgrounds, different knowledges, and so on. And also whenever we're working with customers, we have different types of customers, different ecosystem parts. So we see small panel shops, we see the big multi-international companies. So they come in different sizes and different technologies. It's that diversity when it comes to day-to-day business that's definitely keep us enthusiastic and excited about doing what we do.
The coolest benefit what customer can get out of ePlan is people. People who care about the success and efficiency of our customers, and ultimately people who become friends.
If I had to highlight a booth area this year, I really think it would be something, the webinars, videos, and podcast section. I know we made strides to put out a lot more how-to videos, content, really good experiences also from our customers and our podcasts, kind of learning from their successes, their mistakes, and learn from our customers and their own journey with ePlan. So I really think check that part out in our booth.
One of the main benefits that our customers can take advantage of is actually the collaboration that ePlan provides them with. So the collaboration between engineers, the communication that becomes easier for them to exchange the data, the collaboration between departments. So let's say manufacturing and electrical department, the collaboration between them and ePlan as a staff as well. So that's a key benefit that we provide to our customers to help them succeed. I would always recommend visiting the live webcast or the live chat. So that's a good benefit that you can get out of the fairs, because you have direct contact with the experts. You can talk to them, ask them direct questions, and they'll answer you right away. And that's definitely something that I would take advantage of whenever I have the chance to.
So I would recommend our customers who are visiting our booth to check out first the virtual chat with our desk in order to get informed of what they're looking for and what kind of solutions do we offer at our automation fair. Thanks for participating this year.
Hola, buen día. Mi nombre es Viridiana Blanco. Soy gerente de marketing para ePlan Hispanoamérica y les doy la más cordial bienvenida a esta conferencia en donde vamos a tratar el tema de cómo las soluciones en la nube que tenemos en ePlan le pueden ayudar a mejorar diversos procesos en el desarrollo de sus ingenierías. Voy a darle la palabra a mis compañeros, el ingeniero Carlos Hernández, quien es gerente comercial para toda la zona norte de México, y el ingeniero Rolando García, que es parte del equipo de soporte técnico para ePlan Hispanoamérica. Les doy la bienvenida de nuevo y comenzamos.
El día de hoy vamos a tomar un tema muy importante que son las nuevas soluciones en la nube. Vamos a interactuar con la parte de soporte, de cómo pueden ustedes aprovechar estas herramientas nuevas para que puedan ustedes hacer ingenierías, visualizar ingenierías, revisar, hacer modificaciones, dependiendo cuál sea su flujo papel en el rol, en el proyecto completo. Entonces, si les parece, comenzamos. Sean bienvenidos nuevamente. Vamos a ver ahorita cómo desde aquí parte la ingeniería. Entonces, voy a hacer el switch para que ustedes conozcan que cuando el fabricante de componentes envía la información del usuario final con la especificación, se hace la planeación. Entonces, supongamos que yo soy el usuario final. Entonces, voy a salirme de aquí de la presentación para entrar a lo que es la parte de la nube. No sé si ustedes puedan ver aquí la información. Este es un navegador de Chrome normal. Entonces, ustedes ponen el ePULSE.com aquí en la dirección. Ustedes van a entrar a esta página. Entonces, aquí ustedes se pueden registrar gratuitamente y aquí es donde nosotros vamos a poder hacer uso de la nube. Entonces, por ejemplo, aquí, como yo ya estoy registrado, simplemente le doy Sync In y me va a llevar hacia adentro lo que es esta plataforma de la nube. Le doy Entrar. Y aquí es donde ustedes pueden ver un dashboard, ¿no? Aquí, por ejemplo, yo tengo acceso al Data Portal Preview. Ustedes también podrían tener acceso gratuitamente al Data Portal para conocer los componentes. También hay algunos otros segmentos, perdón. Aquí van a poder ver ustedes también diferentes aplicaciones. Aquí ustedes ven que tengo acceso al Coiner Project Builder, tengo acceso al Coiner Designer y al eView Free. Este eView Free es el que ustedes pueden acceder para que puedan empezar a utilizarlo. Es gratuito completamente, ustedes se pueden registrar. Si ustedes ponen en el navegador epulse.com, crean una cuenta y pueden tener acceso al eView Free. Únicamente ahí les podemos, para los que ya tienen el software, pues fácilmente pueden subir un proyecto y todos pueden visualizar lo que es la ingeniería, ¿no? Dentro de la nube, ¿no? Entonces ya con esto pueden ustedes empezar a utilizar la plataforma, ¿no? Entonces, esta solución de ePlan ePulse es muy oportuna para que puedan ustedes aprovechar en una sola base de datos lo que es el proyecto en sí. El proyecto completo va a circular con todos los participantes, con el plus de que van a estar con una estandarización que ustedes pueden subir ese proyecto a la nube y pueden ver en línea cuáles cambios han sucedido y también pueden hacer modificaciones, agregados desde la nube completamente. Y aquí no estamos olvidando de imprimir todos los proyectos en hojas de papel o mandar incluso por PDF el proyecto, sino que ya lo subimos a la nube y desde ahí vamos a poder ver cómo va a quedar el proyecto, ¿no? Entonces, ahora sí, una vez que se hace el seguimiento o se hace el proyecto en la nube, voy a regresar aquí a la parte del ePulse. Entonces aquí en Coiner Project Builder, lo que hace, voy a entrar. Yo como integrador ahora, voy a hacer una especie de bosquejo. Tal vez yo no soy experto en hacer lo que es una ingeniería completa. Tal vez yo nada más, como gente de ventas, pues me interesa conseguir proyectos. Y ya yo conseguí, digamos, estoy con mi cliente y me dijo que está interesado en un proyecto que lleve arranques de motor, por ejemplo. Entonces, cuando yo le doy clic aquí a arranque de motor, yo ya tengo ciertas especificaciones precargadas que en su momento ya se definieron con mis ingenierías típicas. Yo como integrador, como OEM, yo ya sé que soy capaz de hacer este tipo de ingenierías y que van a estar estandarizadas. Por ejemplo, aquí yo hago arranque de tensión plena, le digo que quiero dos 2 arranques de atención plena, uno que sea, supongamos, de .33 HPs, otro que sea de 2 HPs. Quiero otro arranque, por ejemplo, arranque drive, ¿no? Entonces, el arranque variador aquí me preguntan, ok, ¿cuántos arranques con variador quieres? No, pues que 1, 2, los que sean necesarios, ¿no? Vamos a suponer que requiero 3 arranques con variador, que sean, por ejemplo, de marca Lembralios, puede ser aquí cualquier marca que ustedes vayan a solicitar. Obviamente, esta configuración que me aparece aquí es porque ya previamente se hizo una configuración, pero ustedes pudieran poner aquí algún otro campo, alguna otra fila o columna para poder determinar qué otro checkmark quiero. Por ejemplo, aquí puede haber una que diga con tarjeta de seguridad o que lleve algún otro tipo de configuración que no esté en este momento. Se puede configurar completamente un proyecto y una ingeniería típica, ¿no? Con las distintas variantes que existan. Entonces, bien, vamos a poner que el primero es de .75, el segundo es de 2 HPs, el tercero es de 3 HPs, ¿no? Entonces, una vez que yo ya hago esta configuración, si recuerdan aquí, 2 arranques de atención plena, .33, 2 HPs, 3 arranques con variador, marca Lembrale, .75, 2 HPs y 3 HPs, ¿ok? Entonces, al momento que yo le doy aquí, voy a quitar un poco esto, le voy a dar records, quiere decir que lo voy a guardar. Entonces vamos a ponerle aquí el nombre proyecto arranque. Arranque webinar 4 PM, ¿no? También para que vean que estamos haciéndolo en línea, ¿no? Entonces, el momento que yo le doy salvar, esta información que yo preconfiguré, que yo ni siquiera tengo el software instalado, que nada más entré a un explorador y que estoy desde mi casa haciendo el webinar, yo puedo definir qué información o qué proyecto o qué, digamos, ingeniería es la que quiero que realicen mis ingenieros que están, por ejemplo, en la oficina o de su casa haciendo el proyecto. Entonces, cuando yo ya le di guardar aquí a mi colega que está en la oficina, que se dedica ya a mover al software, a pesar de hacer la ingeniería, él lo que va a recibir es información de esta configuración justamente. Entonces, él lo que hace es que abre el proyecto desde la plataforma del ePlan, ya como tal, ya no desde aquí, y ya una vez que él está ahí, importa esta información, y con un solo clic puede generar los diagramas que yo ya aquí configuré. Es decir, le van a aparecer 2 arranques ya dibujados, ya digamos con los esquemas, ya con los números de parte de los, por ejemplo, todo el tren de arranque, si lleva fusibles, si lleva guardamotores, qué tipo de calibre es el cable, ya toda la información la va a generar el software automáticamente con un solo botón. Entonces imagínense cuánto tiempo nos estamos ahorrando si nosotros aquí de repente nos piden un proyecto de 100 arranques de motor y aquí solamente le ponemos 100, nos va a arrojar 100 hojas de arranques de motor con diferente capacidad, con su tren de arranque, con los componentes ya embebidos en la parte comercial, con las fichas técnicas y con los dimensionamientos en 3D. Entonces, por eso es de que este configurador lo que hace es que garantiza que puedan seguir un estándar de inicio, que conserven el know-how del proyecto, de la compañía, es decir, no vamos a estar inventando si alguien hizo un diagrama o de tal manera o está más bonito el que lo hace el ingeniero, no, sino que hacemos un estándar completo de cómo van a ser mis proyectos, mis ingenierías, mis diagramas, qué es lo que va a llevar, qué normas se van a utilizar, cuál es la estructura de mi proyecto. Entonces todo eso se va a visualizar en la ingeniería. Entonces aquí tengo a mi compañero Rolando. Rolando, no sé si puedas complementar esta parte de lo que es el Cogener, tú que ya utilizas la plataforma.
Sí, Carlos, mira, dame un minutito, me logueo desde aquí, desde el ePlan, para que podamos representar lo que tú ya tienes en el Chrome, lo podamos pasar aquí en ePlan. ¿Me das 2 minutitos nada más, por favor?
Sí, adelante.
Gracias.
Entonces, bueno, en lo que Orlando se hace la conexión, vamos a ir aquí para comentarles dónde estaríamos. Entonces aquí estamos en la etapa, ya hicimos la especificación, ya mi integrador hizo la ingeniería básica, ingeniería de detalle. Entonces ahora sí, esa información que genere Rolando en un momento más, ya va a incluir todos los diagramas, va a incluir todo lo que son el proyecto completo. La ingeniería, puedes desde ahí pasarle listas de materiales incluso, para que el fabricante de paneles ya reciba la información de los esquemáticos, reciba la información de listas de materiales, reciba incluso información de listas de cableado, listas de etiquetado, reportes de ensamble, hojas, por ejemplo, de layout en 2D de la platina, automáticas. Todo lo que estoy diciendo ahorita es automático y lo puede hacer el software. Vistas de perforación. En cuanto al diseño, estamos hablando de que si hacemos la parte de automatización, que es lo que estamos viendo ahorita, esto que dice aquí, Automated Engineering con puros check marks. Entonces, cuando ya ustedes tengan bien identificadas sus ingenierías típicas y las tengan así automatizadas, el ahorro de tiempo es de hasta un 90% en cuanto a la generación de sus proyectos. Ya con la norma, ya etiquetado, ya con toda la información. Y si ya a eso le sumamos de que la información que le vamos a dar a la gente de piso es de calidad, alta calidad, y que es exactamente como debe ser el proyecto, que es un Digital Twin, estamos hablando de que también en la parte del ensamble, no solamente en el diseño, vamos a ahorrar tiempos. Entonces, ¿qué tan importantes son los tiempos ahorita? ¿Qué tan importante es tener un estándar? ¿Qué tan importante es que cumplamos con lo establecido con el cliente y que estemos un paso adelante de en el mercado, ¿no? Entonces, ahora sí, vamos a regresarnos aquí. Me parece que Rolando ya está listo. No sé si Rolando puedas compartirnos tu pantalla.
¿Listo? No, si me cede los controles, por favor, para poder compartir.
Claro que sí. Ahí está.
Listo. Bien, buenas tardes a todos. Yo soy Rolando García, soy parte del Departamento de Soporte Técnico de ePlan. Como comentaba mi compañero Carlos, bueno, ePULSE es una solución que está en la nube, ¿verdad? No solo para el diseñador de la ingeniería, sino también para el vendedor, para el compañero que hace la puesta en marcha, para todos los involucrados en un proyecto. En este caso, lo que les estoy presentando ahorita es el ePlan ePULSE, que es bien similar a lo que les mostraba Carlos hace un ratito, pero yo ya estoy dentro de la plataforma ePlan. En este caso, yo estoy dentro de la plataforma versión 2.8. Tenemos igual aquí el Data Portal, tenemos el visualizador de proyectos, tenemos un administrador de proyectos, que esto también es muy importante para decir, ok, yo tengo 5 proyectos en mi nube, pero esos 5 proyectos no los va a poder ver todo el mundo. A lo mejor un proyecto es para el cliente A, el segundo proyecto es para el cliente B, y los otros 3 proyectos son para los clientes C, D, E, por ejemplo. Entonces, el administrador de usuarios también nos permite tener un orden de quién puede y quién no puede ver esos proyectos en la nube. Lo que voy a hacer ahorita es acceder a la parte del código, que fue lo que mi compañero Carlos hizo hace un rato, solo que él lo hizo en el explorador de internet. Muy probablemente lo que pasa es en una compañía es que a lo mejor el vendedor o algún gerente técnico o alguien hace un precosteo o una estimación de cómo se deben de realizar las ingenierías. Una vez que esa persona hizo la estimación o la configuración de la ingeniería, lo único que tiene que hacer es, en este caso a lo mejor Carlos me manda un mensaje, un texto, un correo o algo, me dice, ya ejecuté o ya guardé la configuración, por favor, desarrolle el diagrama eléctrico de esa ingeniería. Entonces lo que yo tengo que hacer es, en este caso, puedo crear un proyecto desde cero o puedo seleccionar un proyecto que ya tenga abierto. En este caso, tengo un proyecto que se llama Demo Digitalize, que no tiene absolutamente nada, está totalmente vacío. Si yo lo selecciono, ahora sí, me da las opciones de ver cuáles son las configuraciones que tengo disponibles para el proyecto. En este caso, si recuerdan, Carlos hizo una configuración de arranques de varias capacidades. Una vez que yo accedo a esta configuración o a ese configurador, inclusive yo podría tener todos estos campos totalmente vacíos, no podría haber nada aquí como un valor. Y lo único que tengo que ir es a los registros que hizo Carlos, que en este caso, sí lo recuerdan, es uno que se llama Proyecto Ranking.pm. Lo selecciono. Y una vez que lo seleccioné, y aquí tengo todas las configuraciones que Carlos desarrolló puede decir de su tableta, de su computadora, inclusive de un celular, ¿verdad? Hoy en día, digamos, los celulares ya son muy grandes, entonces podemos ver inclusive toda una ingeniería en el móvil. Yo aquí tengo ya la configuración, ni siquiera tengo por qué cuestionarle a Carlos, ¿por qué lo hiciste así? ¿Por qué le pusiste 3 arrancadores y no 2, etcétera? No, él ya hizo su trabajo, ahora mi trabajo es simple y sencillamente generar la ingeniería. Una vez que yo lo genero, en general va a aparecer la leyenda de que la documentación se ha generado correctamente. ¿Se acuerdan que hasta hace un momento este proyecto estaba totalmente vacío? Pues a partir de este momento ya no lo está. ¿Por qué? Porque ya tiene mis 2 arranques directos y mis 3 arranques con variadores de velocidad. En mi página 1, en mi arranque directo, según la configuración de Carlos fue de 0.33 HPs, es correcto, con la entrada y la salida de PLC que se requiere para este proyecto. En la segunda página tengo un segundo arrancador, según la configuración de 2 HPs, es correcto también esto. Y en las siguientes páginas tengo un arrancador, por ejemplo, de 3 HPs, es correcto también, porque nos dice, sí, de 0.75, perdón. Son 3, el primero es de 0.75 y es de marca Allen Bradley. En la siguiente página están las entradas y salidas que se requieren para este variador. En la siguiente hoja tenemos un variador de 2 HPs, entradas y salidas para este variador, y en la última página tengo un motor de 3 HPs. No solo he hecho esta configuración, probablemente Carlos le habló al cliente y le dijo que ¿sabes qué? Ya tengo un presupuesto, pero no me alcanza, ¿no? Esto es un poquito caro con la instalación de estos arrancadores. Entonces, a lo mejor Carlos, para mitigar un poquito el precio, dice, bueno, vamos a cambiar de marca en los variadores de velocidad y probablemente con eso hagamos una modificación, ¿no? Entonces, yo desde aquí, sin modificar nada más que la pura marca, puedo cambiar, por ejemplo, que los variadores de velocidad ya no sean Allen Bradley, sino que sean, por ejemplo, Danfoss. Sus configuraciones eran .75, 2 HPs y el último de 3. Entonces dejo las mismas configuraciones, cambié la marca, le doy clic en generar y el proyecto va a estar tal cual lo había generado originalmente, pero en este caso ahora los variadores de velocidad van a estar con marca Danfoss. Inclusive las descripciones de las páginas cambiaron. Originalmente las descripciones de las páginas eran variador, marca Allen Bradley, y ahorita cambiaron a marca Danfoss. Entonces, si se dan cuenta, la ingeniería, lo que es la ingeniería, el diagrama de conexiones, se puede generar en cuestión, que comentaba Carlos. Ya no hay que el ingeniero A de nuestra compañía le gusta poner el guardamotor más arriba, el PLC un poquito más abajo, el motor un poquito más en medio, no. Ya estas ingenierías están hechas, lo único que tiene que hacer el ingeniero es configurarlos y ejecutar esa configuración, ¿verdad? Es bien importante para todas nuestras compañías mantener el know-how de nuestra compañía, ¿verdad? Siempre que quede ese conocimiento, que quede dentro de las computadoras de la empresa y no dentro de la habilidad de las personas, de los ingenieros, porque a veces la rotación de personal no ayuda con esto, ¿verdad? Bien, una vez que ya tenemos toda nuestra ingeniería, pues podríamos en un determinado momento ejecutar las evaluaciones del proyecto. ¿A qué me refiero con evaluaciones? A todo lo que tiene que ver con la reportería, portada, índice, listas de materiales, listas de problemas, listas de cables, listas de lo que querramos. Lo podemos hacer con un solo botón. Simplemente le digo que me evalúa mi proyecto. Me pregunta que si quiero sustituir algunas páginas que ya estaban, le digo que sí. Y en cuestiones de clics ya tengo una portada, ya tengo un índice de páginas. ¿Se acuerdan de listas de artículos? En este caso del primer arrancador, la lista de los artículos del segundo arrancador, lista de artículos del primer variador, lista de artículos, o más bien el cables del primer variador, lista de artículos del segundo variador, plano de cables del segundo variador, y todos los reportes ya los tengo en cuestión de segundos. Tengo todas las listas de materiales, toda la lista de materiales de todo el proyecto. Eso también se generó en segundos. Diagrama de PLC, en este caso todavía no está representado, pero en caso de que estuviera, pues aquí estarían todas las direcciones de entradas, salidas, tipos de direcciones y todo. Se genera en este reporte. Y al final, pues son las listas de conexiones, ¿verdad? Hilo a hilo, uno por uno, donde se van conectando cada uno de estos hilos en cada parte de mi tablero. Al final, las listas de materiales, pues también son bien importantes. Recordemos que debemos de interactuar con otras personas más allá de la ingeniería, ¿verdad? Otra de esas personas sería, por ejemplo, compras. Siempre necesitamos mandarle, para que este reporte sea ejecutable o para que este proyecto sea realizable, tenemos que mandarle una lista de compras, ¿verdad? Y para esto, lo que podemos hacer es simplemente y sencillamente decirle a ePlan que me haga una exportación a Excel. Una vez que me exporte, ya tengo en un Excel toda la lista de materiales que se generó a partir del proyecto que hizo Carlos. Con todos los dispositivos van a estar presentes aquí en la lista de materiales. Pues hasta aquí la parte de Cogenea, Carlos. No sé si íbamos a mostrar alguna otra cosa.
Sí, bueno, ahí nada más puntualizar que estos reportes ustedes los pueden modificar, no tiene que ser, digamos, exactamente con este formato. Pueden ustedes agregarle listas de precios, listas de materiales, un margen de venta, para que en cuestión de segundos y minutos puedan ustedes obtener un presupuesto para este proyecto. Tal vez yo soy el agente de ventas y mi cliente me estaba pidiendo cuánto me cuesta hacer el proyecto con 5 arranques, ¿no? De tal marca o de tal marca. Entonces fácilmente puedo yo saber cuánto es el proyecto, cuál es el costo de ese proyecto. Puedo incluso ya tener la ingeniería lista y en cuestión de minutos mandársela al cliente. Entonces, una vez que ya esté la información, no sé si Rolando me puedas pasar los derechos. Ya una vez que tenga la información, vamos a ver ahora la segunda etapa, ¿no? Ya que ya es cuando el integrador le manda la información al usuario final. Voy a presentar aquí. Entonces aquí ahorita estamos en la etapa en la que ya se hizo el ensamble, ya el integrador ya hizo la ingeniería, ya se presentaron, se ganó exactamente el proyecto, se hizo el ensamble, se hicieron las pruebas y ahora sí, la etapa final es la de hacer la entrega, ¿no? Entonces una vez que se hace la entrega del proyecto, ya ustedes pueden tener la información de regreso. El usuario final ahora ya con un estándar ya definido, ya él puede recibir ese proyecto completo, ya sea de un tablero de 2 o 3 o una máquina completa o una línea de producción. Y ahora aquí el usuario final, ¿qué beneficios va a tener al utilizar una plataforma como la de ePULSE? Que cualquier cambio que ustedes vayan a realizar en el proyecto, si se dieron cuenta ahorita, Rolando cambió la marca y automáticamente se cambiaron todos los valores. Justamente eso es lo que va a pasar. Se actualizan los diagramas, se actualizan listas de materiales, se actualiza el 3D, se actualiza lo que es el costo también, se actualizan toda la información de los puntos de conexión, es decir, todo va actualizándose de acuerdo a los cambios que generen a última hora. Entonces ahora, yo como usuario final, voy a salirme de aquí ahora para entrar al dashboard, ¿no? Voy a compartir aquí ahora la parte del navegador. Voy a ponerle nuevamente para que vean que fácil también se puede realizar desde aquí. Entonces, vamos a entrar nuevamente al ePULSE. Simplemente le voy a entrar. Y ahora, ya como usuario final, yo tengo la opción también de eView, que es ePlan eView, es visualizar la ingeniería que ya me entregó mi proveedor de ingenierías o mi despacho, integrador o IEM, lo que sea. Entonces, cuando ustedes entren aquí como usuario final, van a poder ver el proyecto completo. Ahí nada más Rolando lo que tendría que hacer es subir el proyecto de los arranques para que yo lo visualice aquí. En este momento tengo este proyecto, digamos, en la nube, y este proyecto, por ejemplo, ya tiene información de todo lo que es el proyecto. Es decir, aquí viene ya la estructura de páginas de cómo está constituido el proyecto. Son hojas, digamos, de resumen, hojas de listas de conexiones, armarios. Por ejemplo, aquí si yo me voy al GB1, armario 1, entonces aquí ustedes pueden visualizar que este componente, esta hoja, ya lo pueden ustedes visualizar como si fuera un PDF, pero ahora desde la nube. Entonces, con el plus de que ustedes van a poder ver dónde está ubicado cada uno de los diagramas. Por ejemplo, aquí nos dice que esta área es de alimentación. Aquí nos dice que es GB1, justamente porque está aquí, es el principal. GB1 es alimentación. Aquí nos dice que la descripción, alimentación y atención, ¿no? Está montado ese componente en A1. A1 es armario 1. Si ustedes ven aquí, armario 1. Entonces, aquí nos va dando todo el desglose, toda la estructura de lo que es mi proyecto para identificar físicamente dónde están y llevar una mejor organización de mis proyectos. Ahora bien, quiero, por ejemplo, darle clic aquí a algún componente. Le doy clic aquí al componente y ya me dice, por ejemplo, más información a detalle de ese componente. Ya incluso ya me da el número de parte comercial. Si yo le doy clic aquí, me lleva directamente a la información técnica de ese componente, ¿no? Entonces, al momento de darle información aquí, darle clic, ya me lleva directamente a la página donde puedo ya saber más a detalle. Incluso, si ustedes quieren, por ejemplo, vamos a abrir aquí otra hoja. Por ejemplo, aquí en la parte de MA2, por ejemplo, aquí puedes encontrar un tipo de arranque, y si ustedes quisieran agregar aquí bueno, de entrada ustedes le pueden dar clic aquí y nos dice también dónde está posicionado, control de PLC, armario 2, etcétera, ¿no? Quiero saber dónde está exactamente ese componente. Bueno, simplemente le damos clic aquí para ver dónde está montado físicamente ese tablero, o en el tablero, en qué tablero está. Por ejemplo, aquí me dice que ese componente, que era un diagrama, está aquí. No sé si alcanzan a ver, es la parte que se ve ahí en color negro. Es Finish Contact en este caso, pero digamos ya lo pueden ver ustedes aquí desde el visualizador, para que conozcan dónde está montado, y eso sirve mucho para los que se reciben la ingeniería, porque ahora no nada más es poder leer perfectamente un proyecto, sino también a la hora de los mantenimientos, que toque hacer algún tablero, la gente de planta va a poder darle un seguimiento puntual, porque ya desde aquí se puede ir al diagrama, puede hacer anotaciones, si se cambió la fuente, si no, desde aquí pueden respetar los hipervínculos. Por ejemplo, si ustedes quieren irse aquí a algún componente, pues desde aquí se pueden configurar y conectar, ¿no? Entonces, por ejemplo, vamos aquí a regresar a la parte del bosquejo, y por ejemplo, supongamos, quiero hacer aquí un redline, que resulta que este componente, sí, perdón, sí, adelante.
Perdón, ¿puedes ver si los proyectos tienes disponible uno que se llama Proceso Tequila? Y lo podemos igual demostrar también aquí en el EPLAN.
En los proyectos, aquí, tengo nada más el example project.
A ver, dale en Open, arribita, dale en Open. ¿Solo tienes ese?
Sí, este es el que está ahorita, digamos que se subió a la nube, que lo subió Juan Carlos. Entonces, ese es el que está ahorita en la nube. Así es.
Hay como 3 rayitas horizontales, a ver, nada más quiero ver si en las rayitas horizontales, a un lado de Open, del lado izquierdo de Open.
¿Este?
Ahí, dale. Sí, recién te di el acceso.
Ok, acabas de subirlo.
Sí.
Ok, perfecto. Bueno, vamos a abrirlo, a ver de qué se trata este proyecto. En este caso es un proyecto tequila que me acaba de compartir Rolando. En este caso yo no sé de qué se trata, pero vamos a hacer algún ejemplo. Por ejemplo, aquí yo veo que es un índice, tiene hojas, especificación. Vamos a ver el DTI, porque también se pueden realizar todo lo que son los procesos de DTI. Vamos a ver qué más hay. Información de lo que es cada uno de los procesos. Por ejemplo, aquí, por cierto es la norma americana. Me estoy dando cuenta porque, bueno, tiene aquí el doble ladder. Entonces vamos a hacer ahora el ejemplo el nuevo que me acaba de compartir Rolando. Vamos a poner un redline. Entonces vamos a ponerle aquí, supongamos, esta parte, ¿no? Le ponemos aquí, y ahora bien, vamos a ponerle aquí, por ejemplo, cambiar señal, ¿no? Entonces le vamos aquí a guardar. Ahora no quiero que sea un draft, sino quiero que sea ahora una revisión. Cuando yo le doy aquí revisión, en el momento que yo le doy clic, me pide que profundice un poco, que sea más específico. Por ejemplo, cambiar a marca Siemens, por ejemplo. Le doy guardar. Entonces, en el momento que yo lo doy guardar, ya está en review. Quiere decir que yo hice una anotación porque a lo mejor la gente de piso ya hizo ese cambio, o hizo esa señal, o ya lo cambió físicamente, pero lo que quiere es asegurarse de que la documentación vaya a estar actualizada. Entonces aquí, si ustedes ven la historia, aquí dice que yo a las 4:53 hice esta marca o este comentario, ¿no? Para que sea modificado. Igual también puedo poner algún texto, puedo poner información, lo que ustedes necesiten, ¿no? Cambiar, por ejemplo. Ya ustedes depende qué texto es el que quieren ustedes agregar, pero ustedes pueden agregar algún texto, algún redline, ¿no? Entonces aquí ya, por ejemplo, ya le puse aquí cambiar, ¿no? Urgente, no sé, algo que ustedes vayan a modificar. Ahora sí, voy a pasarle los derechos a Rolando para que él pueda ver qué fue lo que yo hice como usuario final. Tal vez él ya firmó una póliza de garantía con el usuario final en el cual le garantizó que todos sus diagramas eléctricos van a estar siempre actualizados si él utiliza la plataforma de ePULSE. Entonces, Rolando, te voy a ceder los derechos para que puedas hacer el ejemplo y que puedas visualizar sobre todo lo que son los cambios que yo acabo de agregar. ¿Ok?
Sí, si me compartes los controles, listo.
Ahí está.
Bueno, en este caso, porque, bueno, estamos hablando en vivo, Carlos y yo, nos enteramos de qué fue lo que se hizo, ¿verdad? Pero si él no hubiera dicho nada, a mí ya me llegaron 2 notificaciones. Me dice que en el proceso de tequila de Retail Servicios, que es nuestra cuenta, se hizo un redlining que dice cambiar señal. Y otro que se llama redlining 2. Inclusive si yo le doy clic a cualquiera de estos links, lo que me va a hacer es me va a abrir el explorador de internet. Esto le pudo haber llegado a cualquiera de los demás usuarios, ¿verdad? En este caso me va a abrir el explorador de internet y en el explorador de internet me va a mostrar los redlinings que se hicieron. Bueno, en este caso me pide que me loguee, le doy clic en Sign y sobre el mismo explorador de internet me va a aparecer aquí la modificación que hizo Carlos. Esto es Google Chrome, ese es el internet. Tal cual las modificaciones que hicieron, pasaron, no sé, 3, 4 segundos para que él las hizo y a mí me llegó la notificación. Ahora, a la vez, yo soy, digamos que colaborador de Carlos, pero también soy el ingeniero, soy el diseñador EPLAN. Entonces, ¿qué es lo que tengo que hacer? Ya que me llegó la notificación, vengo a EPLAN, vengo a la parte de eView Free, accedo a la nube, que es donde están los proyectos, y aquí debo de tener alguna notificación de que ya se hizo alguna modificación, algún cambio. Por ejemplo, aquí me dice que mi proceso de tequila tiene una nueva notificación, tiene un nuevo cambio. Vamos a ver qué nuevos cambios hubo. Vamos, por favor, a abrir el proceso de tequila. Ya está abierto. Lo abrimos. Me dice que hay un review, un redlining 2 y un texto que se llama cambiar señal. Le doy clic aquí al texto que dice cambiar señal y me manda en EPLAN, esto ya es EPLAN, ya no es el Explorer, me manda a donde hizo Carlos esa señal. Entonces, ¿qué es lo que hago? Se debe de cambiar la señal. Ya hice el cambio. Entonces aquí, si esto ya pasó de revisado, lo puedo cambiar que en vez de que sea revisado, aprobado. Y ya cambió de estatus mi redlining de alguna manera. Luego teníamos otro que se llamaba redlining 2, que es otro texto que tenemos por acá abajo que dice cambiar. Igual, si yo hice las modificaciones que tengamos que hacer o algo, ¿qué es lo que tengo que hacer? Lo paso a aprobado otra vez, guardar. Desde ahí hice las modificaciones que me pidió el compañero, y esto no solo es una persona, ¿verdad? Todo este proyecto se lo puede haber mandado al supervisor, a la persona que ensambla, a todas las personas que están involucradas en el proyecto, y todas a su vez me pueden hacer comentarios en tiempo real. Recuerden que EPLAN también tiene una herramienta que se llama gestión de revisión. A través de esta herramienta que se llama gestión de revisión, nosotros podemos generar, por ejemplo, proyectos de referencia. Decir que este proyecto de referencia se llama proyecto de referencia, proceso de tequila, revisión 3, revisión 4, revisión 5, y en la descripción podríamos darle, por ejemplo, revisor Carlos Hernández. Entonces, con esta herramienta, nosotros ya podemos hacer el seguimiento de cambios. Decirle a EPLAN cuándo se hizo una modificación, quién la hizo, en qué fecha, por qué se hizo, quién la aprobó, quién la revisó, todo eso se puede dar a partir de EPLAN ePULSE, a través de la plataforma de eView. Entonces, esto es lo que queríamos mostrarles de la parte de ePlan ePULSE y ePlan Coginer. ePlan eView y ePlan Coginer que están dentro de ePULSE. No sé si hasta aquí tengas algo más que añadir, Carlos.
Sí, ya para finalizar, ya nada más es, digamos, hacer el resumen. Entonces, digamos, es una manera de adaptarse a lo que son las nuevas tecnologías que hoy en día están en el mundo, ¿no? Básicamente la digitalización, ingenierías en la nube, todo lo que es Industria 4.0, todo esto nosotros podemos asegurarles que estamos trabajando fuertemente para poder cumplir las expectativas que el mercado nos diga, ¿no? Entonces, a grandes rasgos esto es lo que les queríamos mostrar. Puedo decir que estuvo, que fue muy gratificante lo que es el hecho de contar con Rolando para que nos pueda ejemplificar y poder saber los beneficios de cómo trabajar en la nube en estos tiempos difíciles, ¿no? Que esperemos que se resuelva pronto, pero si ustedes ven, desde casa podemos hacer ingenierías, mandarlas a entregar con un y poder entregarlas sin tiempo y forma, sin ningún problema, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, pues muchísimas gracias por su tiempo. Espero que se encuentre muy bien y nos vemos a la próxima. Muchísimas gracias.
Hasta luego, buena tarde.
Muchas gracias por su participación en esta conferencia en donde abordamos el tema de cómo las soluciones en la nube de ePlan le pueden ayudar a su empresa a mejorar sus procesos de ingeniería. Gracias también a mis compañeros, el ingeniero Carlos Hernández y el ingeniero Rolando García. Les recordamos que cualquier duda que tengan la vamos a estar respondiendo en español en los chats, así que por favor vayan a ellos para dejarnos todas sus preguntas. Damos por finalizada esta conferencia y que sigan disfrutando del evento.
eBuild is the latest cloud-based solution of ePULSE, which is available to all users of ePlan Electric P8 or Fluid from version 2.8 onwards. With eBuild you have access to predefined libraries and you can generate complete schematics with just a few clicks. The easy-to-use interface and the selection of options takes you directly to the complete schematics. ePlan enables guided engineering. eBuild is for free, easy to use, it increases your quality, it saves time and it reduces your errors. Once you have registered for ePULSE, you can enter eBuild directly through the ePlan Electric P8 or Fluid user interface. eBuild supports you in your daily work and helps you to get more time for the exciting engineering tasks. Just give it a try.
Engineering is going through a real revolution. Cloud computing, the Internet of Things, and data integration have a huge impact on industrial production systems. An efficient exchange of digital data between the different engineering phases is necessary to prevent disruption. If you want to work efficiently, you must think in an integrated way. That starts in the concept phase. Thanks to the digitization and modularization of engineering data, you can immediately start with conceptual design. This smart customization ensures substantial time savings, better estimable offers, and sharper delivery times. Smart engineering stands for a smart connection of electrical, mechanical, and software data. Thanks to one virtual prototype, everyone speaks the same language. It opens the door to smart production. The digital twin with 3D info and other smart data ensures smooth communication between man and machine. The better and more accessible information is built up in the concept, engineering and production phases, the less time you'll lose later on in case of downtime. You can also store everything in the cloud, so everyone has direct access to the right digital data at any given time. It's crystal clear. Working in an integrated way creates added value, shortens the lead time of your projects, and reduces downtime in case of a breakdown. This way you create a great added value for your product. Do you want to know how you can do this? The different solutions within the ePlan platform support you towards an integrated engineering and production process. Your digital transformation with ePlan.
Digital data has become a primary focus for product development and production, with manual and automated processes of panel building having standardized and digitally provided data is becoming a necessity. User errors are expensive and implementing the correct set of wiring can be tedious and oftentimes daunting. With the help of virtual prototyping, access to creating a digital footprint of wiring is now possible. From the connections to the best routing path, ePlan Smart Wiring creates a virtual layout that provides shop floors with all the necessary information in a 3D digital format. Data can be passed along to different departments seamlessly. Whether it's a manual or fixed installation, wiring information is available to the design department via email. What else can smart wiring do? With the help of a smart device, you can access ePlan Smart Wiring and receive detailed step-by-step instructions for easy implementation. Wiring can be completed without schematics or layouts, and connections can be recorded using the traffic light principle. In addition to creating a transparent guideline, smart wiring also helps avoid mistakes in real time. By running an automatic project comparison, last-minute changes are now possible. Using ePlan Pro Panel, Smart Wiring and eView will give you a 45% time savings in wire preparation and project completion. To learn more about how to save on cost and time through automation, visit us at info.eplanusa.com/wiring 4.0.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Debbie Raimundo, and I am the marketing lead here at ePlan USA. Thank you so much for joining our ePlan Live channel at the Rockwell Automation Fair at Home. I hope you're enjoying the event, and I hope you've had time to stop by our virtual booth. So today, our topic is focused on partners and success. Joining us today here at our ePlan Live channel is our ePlan account manager, Bart Nieber. And then we also have Jason Kuhr, who is our business development leader at Werner Electric, who is a Midwest electric supply and solutions provider, and also good partners with Rockwell Automation. So I'm going to go ahead and let these guys introduce themselves, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the conversation.
Hi, I'm Jason Kuhr. Work for Werner Electric Supply Company. I've been an employee with them since 1996. Werner Electric has been around for 72 years, so we're a very established electrical supplier with where it started. And then when Rockwell Automation took that over, we obviously stayed in good standing as a distributorship for Rockwell Automation. I started as a technical support person. At the ground level, we were just building up a technical support department because of the advent of the internet and a higher demand for automation. So I stayed in that role, then developed myself into HMI and software, where I then moved into a product management position. And currently I'm working as a business development leader here at Werner to make sure partnerships with our customers and vendors go off without a hitch, and that we can supply what is needed to our customers to create a very value-added service for them.
Yeah, and I am Bart Nieber, so I am the account manager for ePlan in the Upper Midwest. So I've been with ePlan for a little over a year, and I cover Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska. So not only do I work directly with customers, but I also work through our partner network like Werner Electric. All right, Jason, thank you for that background on Werner Electric. Obviously, we've been working together for about 9 months now, and Werner Electric was one of the first ePlan partners. What was the value that you saw in ePlan for your customers, and how did the partnership with ePlan come about?
That's a good question. We always are looking for new products and services that we can offer to our customers. We have a vision statement, which is the relentless pursuit of exceptional customer experiences. So we're always looking for new technologies, things that can improve our customers' ability to go to market, to be more efficient and effective for their customers, as we are more or less business-to-business type supplier. So with that, we were actually approached by ePlan. We had saw that as an Encompass partner in the past, but the go-to-market had changed, and he decided to go through distribution, which we thought was a good idea. We did some investigation. ePlan was a best-in-class type of solution for electrical design, and how you were partnering, having a digital partnership with Rockwell Automation. We thought it would fit Werner Electric's portfolio very well, with a lot of opportunities on our customer base to use that solution to enhance what they can do and move into the future, right? In the digital age, the digital experience, Internet of Things, all of that kind of gets rolled under the hood of ePlan with what they have today and where they're going in the future.
Perfect. Yeah, and how would you obviously we're still early on in the partnership, but how would you say that overall ePlan has been perceived or received by your customers as you've had these initial conversations and started to really dive in with your customer base?
I would say that it's being received very well. People, of course, have to do their due diligence and look into the product. It is a commitment to the customer, so they have to have a good vision going forward and understand the quality and the investment that it takes to get a solution that will drive your business forward and get you to where you need to be competitively and future state. So I believe it gives a good advantage to those using it as efficiency. they're very much able to, those who we have had investigated so far have done return on investment calculations and have decided to move forward on it. So they understand the investment and the importance of it, but they're able to take what they know with your help. Bart, as you know, you've done some process assessments for us, and that really comes through with our customers because you're using their data for them to prove what they will save and gain in the partnership with ePlan and with Werner Electric. And Werner Electric is providing a product management position. So we will have localized support, consultation, and services as our partnership grows. And we look forward to that type of relationship. While in the model that we're putting forth to our customer to be that valued partner instead of just another electrical distributor.
Perfect. Yeah, it really kind of goes along with, as we look to for that digital transformation within your customers. So just shifting gears a little bit, obviously we're, because of the fact we're doing this virtually, is all due to the pandemic. And so we've had to do a lot of shifting. I know ePlan has done a lot with the pandemic as far as shifting a lot of our services as far as our training and consulting to be done virtually so that we can still assist our customers. What has Werner all done as the landscape has changed here in the last 6 months to help their customers with this changing work environment?
Well, we've been as accommodating as possible with the customer, as you know, virtually, like we're doing today, a lot of virtual meetings. So getting used to that technology, but also scoping out other technologies that can really help customers in these types of situations. So we were all forced into this due to the pandemic, but I think people were already investigating remote connectivity, ways to do things a little more efficiently and faster without having to travel as much. So the time savings thing. So even though the pandemic kind of forced it on us, I believe the trend was we were moving in that direction. So ePlan in particular has a very good way of doing that. They're already electronically based. So unlike having to shuffle around a bunch of print documents back and forth to different facilities or to different customers, the solution itself lends itself to this type of environment because it's all electronic, it's tied together. There's a web-based portal to pull down the different devices and things you need to build up your electrical design components. The ability to then do the redlining process over either a web portal or just by sending PDF documents back and forth and importing, exporting is huge. So I see this is just how ePlan was almost ahead of the game when it came to having to deal with a crisis such as this. And I believe it opens the eyes of a lot of people, not only during this pandemic, but past it, on how we can do things more efficiently without necessarily having to do things the old way, trying to travel always over to a place. There is something to be said about face-to-face contact, but with everybody's time being a commodity, expertise kind of contracting a little bit today. So a lot of the old expertise is leaving. New expertise is coming in at not as fast a rate. So to have these types of technologies to make things more efficient, to do more with less per se, is a huge plus. So we look forward to using more of these types of technologies, trying to build up solutions. We have a network services solution to help people with their infrastructures, to help support these types of remote connectivities and solutions like ePlan. So we definitely embrace the challenge, and I think we've done a heck of a job trying to get what our customers need in this difficult time and in this odd environment that we live in right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And yeah, I know you're definitely correct, is that we are ahead of the curve on a lot of this, as we were already starting to roll out cloud-based services, and those have only continued to do so. It's only going to continue to grow with what we're able to offer in the digital workplace that we're now in. So.
Yeah, and it's been the support we receive from ePlan has been we have whatever issues or solutions we need to get to, or people that have to switch meetings due to one thing or another because of the pandemic, because of whatever that situation is. ePlan has been very versatile in making sure that Werner as a distributor is covered, that our customers are covered, that you're working with us to develop who we think would benefit from these types of solutions, and then work forward in the future. So you guys done a very good job on being the support needed for vendors such as Werner Electric. We have 11 different branches, as you know, that we have spread out over Wisconsin and part of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So it's very important to us that we get that kind of support in the back end. So aligning right with Rockwell, you guys are doing a heck of a job helping us out there as well.
All right. So obviously, we talked a little bit about ePlan cloud-based solutions, and ePlan has done a lot to, as we said earlier, ePlan has done a lot to continue to grow those solutions. And one of the goals there is, as we look at the future of automation, is we want to make sure that we can share information throughout the design process, that we're not just waiting until the end to then review drawings. We've created ways with our thing like eView to be able to actually share and collaborate on drawings as you go through the design process. Also within ePlan, there's obviously the automatic exports to things like wire terminal machines and CNC machines, so that people like Werner can provide panels as we're able to create a true towards the future.
So we see more trends on people looking to Werner to assist in some of the service offerings. You kind of alluded to one of them would be be able to drill the holes to cut out custom panel doors, so the customer can then get these enclosures and be ready to install and go to market faster, right? Getting manufacturing done, get it out the door. So we are looking for solutions beyond that. Other trends that I see in the industry outside of just the electrical design piece, we are at Automation Fair at Home, so a large aspect of what our customers are looking into towards the future would be the industrial Internet of Things, the IoT. So Rockwell does have the partnership with a PTC now, the Vuforia, the ThingWorx level. So not only in that IoT space, but also augmented reality. So IoT will connect everything up. We have large OEM base looking to monitor their machines more effectively, having to send people out to service the machines less, only when needed. If somebody can troubleshoot over the phone or over an internet connection with a video camera to the service tech at the customer, that helps everybody, right? Because they don't have to send a large bill. The service tech learns something, and everything is done more efficiently. So that's a huge part of the solution. And then when you put augmented reality on top of that with Vuforia and other technologies, you're able to do training better. So I had talked about the transfer of knowledge, the old guard leaving, the new people coming in, and how there's kind of a lack of a one-to-one relationship there. So we have to train people better and on the fly, because some of not only are the older technicians and engineers retiring, but the knowledge they take with them on some of the older systems that aren't quite migrated up to the newer platforms is also leaving. So in order to cover that, we're finding that augmented reality type solutions where wearable devices or even a tablet to have videos with overlays of how things are done and taken apart, put together, heads up type displays really is helping people look beyond the old way of training and doing solutions. The other thing is having an insight into your factory. So a lot of people are looking at OEE, they have been for a long time, to improve their production efficiencies on a manufacturing end or even while building machines. So that has always been at the forefront, but now with the advent, again, of IoT and more advanced analytics and things like machine learning and artificial intelligence, Rockwell cutting edge with their innovation suite. They're able to pull in the information and mash it up with the technologies they offer where you don't necessarily have to have a data science degree to get this done. Once the system is set up, it is usable to get functional analytics out of it without having to do a lot of the things that people have done in the past in order to get these processes to work, to get the answers they need. So the artificial intelligence modules that Rockwell is putting out, the analytics engines behind the scenes, the factory talk metrics for the OEE calculations being brought in with ThingWorx to be able to have a larger, more modern system, then taking that information, using it proactively to make your systems better, to make the manufacturing process smoother, is a huge plus. The other thing that we're looking at is uptime, right? OEE is huge on keeping your machines up and running. So in order to do that, people are looking at preventative maintenance, monitoring the machines for vibration and other things that where they start going out of tolerances, you're alerted prior to them going out, so you can do the maintenance more efficiently, effectively, more planned, to reduce your downtimes and increase efficiencies and of course profitability. So that's kind of the trends that I'm seeing in manufacturing, in even machine building. We have a large machine builder presence, so they're taking a lot of these new technologies to heart, investigating them, doing their due diligence, but then investing in them, making sure that they can move forward. So ePlan is just one more piece of that puzzle. So that digital experience, that digital transformation, really the design piece is fitting in with ePlan, and it complements all the other offerings from Rockwell Automation and other Encompass partners. You'd mentioned digital twin. There is also the simulation environment for partners like ANSYS and other people. So it's a huge scope of product and breadth of technology to wrap your head around, but there's definitely a solution out there for everyone, and you just have to take the time to look into it, understand what it brings to the table, what business issues it's going to answer for your company. That's key to a lot of these new technologies, is understanding the issues that it's going to solve. Therefore, you can apply it and get your return on investment, get your value for your investment in that technology.
Yeah, and that's a great point when you talk about you mentioned the old guard moving out and having to train in new people, and that's one of the things we had mentioned with ePlan too is with it being a database-driven system and all the data that can be exported, like the point-to-point wireless. So you're no longer wiring off schematics. You're not training people in to how you read schematics, or taking it even further and using our smart wiring technology, where again you're as you mentioned, wiring off using tablets, things like that. So you're truly just using a digital piece of software to help with the training aspect, to become efficient more quickly compared to, and really shortening that training time. So all as you mentioned, another thing that ePlan can bring to the table. So.
Right. And I mean, product development management and product lifecycle management, those are just other things that people are really concentrating on now. And ePlan blends itself to both of those things. The ability to integrate that solution into an ERP system to make things more efficient. Even so, apart from the design side, you also have the quotation side. So by integrating into a business system, ePlan, the quotation side for Salesforce selling certain machines or systems, very much more efficient, more unified, getting that one version of the truth everybody looks for, being able to expedite the sale to actual realization and get that money rolling in faster. I know it's that's what everybody bottom line is looking to make things more efficient, so profitability goes up. So I believe with the ePlan solution, with a lot of the digital technologies that are out there today, applied correctly and thought out, with a lot of involvement from vendors like yourself, from distributors such as us, where we have a large breadth of technical knowledge, product knowledge that we bring to the table. So it's not just me here working. I have a bunch of brethren and sisters that work in this technological field that help our customers get up to speed, understand the technologies, understand how it can help them move forward and be more effective, more productive, and more profitable.
Thank you guys so much for the great conversation. Thank you, Bart. Thank you, Jason, for joining us today at ePlan Live. I hope everybody has a chance to visit our booths, the Werner booth at Rockwell Automation Fair at Home and the ePlan virtual booth. If you have any questions, that's exactly where you can go to ask us live. We all have people on staff who can answer your questions right away. Other than that, have a fantastic week, and we'll see you soon.
I'm Johnny Wilson, and welcome to the August edition of the Top 5 Questions that was submitted to the ePlan Solution Center. How can I draw a structure box with a recess? So I've got two structure boxes. The one on the left shows the designation in the structure box recessed with 90 degrees here. So how do I make the one on the right look like the same? So we need to check some settings first. So if you go to the options, and then settings, and then we're just going to go to the project and then the name of the project, and then in graphical editing under the general tab, we want to make sure the draw structure box with the recess is checked. So once that is done, then I just double click on the structure box, and then I change the value from the left top outside at 0 degrees to the left top inside at 90 degrees like so. So if I click OK, then you can see that this now matches up. To make this setting apply for all the new structure boxes I inserted, I can just double click on it and I can just toggle one of the values. So I like to just change this from bold and then uncheck it, and you can see that now I can save this. So I'm going to give it a new name, so I'm going to call it Demo Default here. And then if I use it as default from now on and click OK, and if it already exists, you can overwrite it like so. If I click OK, then I can insert a new structure box. I'm just going to give it the same name, so I'm going to call it Skid and click OK. So you can now see that this one inserts like the other ones do. How can I create a macro project? So to create a macro project, the easiest way is to take a copy of the project you are working on. So here I'm going to go project and then copy, and then I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call this Top 5 Macros. And then I'm just going to go for only interactive pages and then click OK. And now I've got a copy of the project. The only thing I need to change to make this into a macro project is to right click and go to properties and change the type of project from schematic to macro project. When I insert an accessory in Pro Panel, how do I change the orientation? So I'm going to drag this terminal cover in here and snap it to the top, and you can see that the rotation of this accessory is correct. If I try and place it on the bottom, you can see that it does not rotate as expected. So you can manually rotate this by pressing Ctrl, Shift and R and press it again to get it upside down. And then when I place it, you can see it's going to snap there correctly. We can make an adjustment to this macro, so it will always place the accessory in the correct orientation. So to do this, what I can do is I can cut this device from the cabinet, and it's going to ask me for a base point. I'm just going to use this one here. And then if I jump to my macro project, which I've got open here, I can go into this new layout space I have created and then just paste it. So it's going to ask me for a base point. It doesn't matter where this is. I'm just going to place it here. And then in the macro project, it's going to show me all the different mounting points on this device. And I can see this bottom one is the one I want to work with. And I can see that the Z-axis is pointing up and away from the device, and then the Y-axis goes up, and this one, the X-axis, goes to the right. So to rotate this, we can just click on the mounting point and go to Edit, Graphic, and then Rotate Around Axis. So the axis I want it to rotate around is the Z-axis, so I'm just going to click this one here and type 180 degrees. So once I do that, you can see the y-axis is now pointing down. So when I insert the accessory, it will be placed in the downwards orientation. So once I've done that, I can right click and go on properties, and I'm just going to grab the macro name here. So I'm just going to select it all and copy. And then I'm going to go to this new layout space and go to properties down here. I'm just going to paste it in the macro name here. So I'm going to paste the name here also, and this is just because I like to organize it by the actual file name. So I'm going to hit OK. And then once I've done that, I can regenerate this macro. So I can go to project data, macros, generate automatically. Make sure you got the overwrite existing macro box checked and click OK. So now when I go back to my demo project and I place that same device, so if I go to devices, mine was MCB109, I can drag that over like so. And now when I place that terminal cover, I can see that it snaps correctly here and also here. So I don't need to manually rotate it now in the future. I've made changes to a macro, but when I insert the macro, I do not see these changes. I have a simple macro here, and I'm just going to regenerate it by going to project data, macros, and generate automatically. Notice this is variant A. I'm going to go to my schematic project and insert this macro, and then place it here. I'm going to update this macro by taking a copy of it, and then I'm going to paste it below here. I'm going to make a simple modification to it. I'm going to make it 2 lights and wire these ones up here. Like so. I'm going to change the variant to variant B. And then I'm going to regenerate variant B. When I insert this new macro, I should have the options of variant A and variant B, but notice how variant B does not have the additional light. So what is going on? So if I go back to my macro project, I can click on the macro box and right click and go to select associated objects. As you see, only this first circuit is highlighted, so that is what is included in the macro box. We have a few options to correct this. One way is to select everything inside the macro box, like so, and then right click on the macro box and go to assign objects to macro box. So now when I right click on the macro box and go to select associated objects, you can see everything is highlighted. We can also do it a different way. So if I go back a step and change this back to B, and I do my select associated objects again, I'm back to my previous step. So another option is to double click on the macro box and to change this setting here, so manual object assignment. If I uncheck that, ePlan will automatically include everything that is inside the macro box. So if I go to select associated objects here, everything is now included. So I can regenerate variant B by going to project data, macros, generate automatically. Okay, so now when I reinsert the macro, it should be functioning as I expect. So here's variant A and there is variant B. When I insert a macro with a placeholder object, how can I delete or hide these? So here I have a macro that I inserted from the data pool. It came with 2 placeholder objects that I can use to adjust certain values on this macro. Sometimes it's desirable to hide these, and to do that, the easiest way is to change the layer visibility. So to do that, let's go to the project data and then layer management. And the 2 layers that we're interested in is the macro layer here, so ePlan 322 and the placeholder object. So if I just scroll across to the right here and uncheck the visibility, and then also the property placement for the placeholder object down here, and this is ePlan 551. I just scroll across and change the visibility, and then I can close out there, and as you can see they now turn gray. And if I go to view and then turn off invisible elements, now they are hidden.
Hi, my name is Narelle Safi. I'm a technical consultant with ePlan Software and Services. We hope you are enjoying Rockwell Automation Fair at home. Today, I am going to show you how you can digitalize your control system with ePlan. Feel free to ask any question in the chat and we will get to those right away. Thanks again for joining us, and let's go ahead and get started.
This is digitalizing your control system, and we have Narelle on the line. He's one of our application engineers, senior application engineer, and he's going to do this demo, this presentation for you. We also have Jennifer Payne, and her responsibility is our data portal and all the supplier information that's contained within that. I'll let Jennifer do a quick explanation of what the data portal entails, so you understand that before we get started with Narelle on the demo. Thanks for coming.
Thank
Jennifer?
you, Roger.
Yeah.
Thank you. So as Roger just said, I am the business sales manager for Master Data. And so I am responsible for the data portal and working with manufacturers to join our digital catalog, where then we work with them to input their data, and we really work hard to achieve great data sets and depth of quality within the information we receive from them. And then that is uploaded onto the data portal, where then as a user, you're able to go in there and click and download the information into your projects. So I also work with we have a global team out of Germany, and currently we have over 300 suppliers on the data portal. We have recently launched our new EDS, what we call their ePlan data standards, again, to encourage our manufacturers to provide the best quality data on our portal. So we appreciate you joining our demonstration today, and I will hand it over to Narelle so he can show you what our system entails. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Narelle Safi. I'm an application engineer with ePlan. I have been with ePlan for 3 years, a little bit over 3 years now. My responsibility is to do consulting, trainings, and pre-sales activities with our sales. I am very glad today to show you a little bit about ePlan P8, more specific, and ePlan as a platform in general. So thank you for attending, and let's get started. All right, so this is ePlan. This is the ePlan platform as a whole. If you take a look at the top right here, ePlan, you're probably familiar with some of ePlan menus, since ePlan is written on a common Windows tool. So for example, some of these menus, for example, cut, copy, paste, and the shortcut that comes with it, it's a standard as a window standard. Also, ePlan has its own shortcut and toolbars. So if you take a look, there's plenty of toolbars that's available when you install ePlan, and also you can customize your own toolbars to make your design process more easy and more efficient. All right. You could put your toolbars here on the top to make it easy, or on the sides. This is all based on your preference. Now, ePlan is a database-driven system. You don't have to do any database management. However, this is just an information for you to tell you that the entire project set up as a database at its core, and all the documents inside your project are connected together as one database. Think of it as an PowerPoint slide. So when I go ahead here and open one of my documents, so for example, the title page or the cover sheet, I'm not opening an outside file. I'm just opening this page inside my project, and I can easily navigate between my pages. Yeah, that saves me time and less errors and mistakes. So for example, here I have my title page. Another benefit of having the project as a one database is one source of entry. So I can put the information in one spot, and that information will distribute it on the entire project. So if we take a look at this example, for example, I'm going to change the company name here. Call this EPLAN. You can see that the changes took effect here on the top right away, and also at the bottom you can see here the company name changed. At any page that I open right now, these changes will be, or this update will take effect on that page. Now, as a user or as an engineer, you can start your design from any data that you have. So in ePlan, there's 3 ways of designing by the symbol, designing by the device, and designing by predefined circuit. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead right here and just create a new page. So as you can see, ePlan automatically recognizes what's the next available page in there. I still have the possibility to go ahead and change that page number. So anywhere I can click here, it can tell me what is the next available one in that section. So I can go ahead, for example, and select here and say new. You can see that page 64 is the next available one in that section, or what's below it. I'm going to go ahead and give it a description. So I'm going to call this motors. Press OK. And here you can see it's a brand new page. The information that we entered at the beginning is still there. Yeah, and it will continue to be there the more we build on into this project. Just like I mentioned, engineer could start from any data that they have or any information that they have. If they decide to design by the symbol, since they don't know the part or the number or the device that they're going to assign at the moment, they could do that. If I go insert symbol in the top, you can see all these symbol libraries that ePlan provide you with. These symbol libraries you don't have to customize, you don't have to maintain. These comes with ePlan, and it get updated every version installed. So with every new version, there's could be some new symbols. ePlan will keep maintaining this to make it as easy as possible on the engineers to start their design. You can see it serves several standards. So here I can see the NFPA symbols in inches. I can see NFPA symbols in millimeters. I can see the IEC standard, which is the European standard symbol, graphic symbol libraries, and special symbol library. So let's say I want to design a motor circuit. Yeah? I'm going to go ahead and go to my power consumer. And as you can see, it's very well organized. I will not get lost in menus or search bars. All I need to do is think about the symbol that I need to place, and I can easily target it. You can see here's the motor circuit, motor sections, and you can see it's even filtered based on the connection points that's in that motor. So if I go more into this tree, I can see, for example, this motor, yeah, and I can see the description of this motor. So let's say I decided to select this motor, yeah, while this motor is attached to my cursor, yeah, I can click the tab key and rotate between all the 8 variants that this motor has. Once I'm satisfied with this motor position, I could just go ahead and click automatically ePlan will recognize where this motor is placed and give it a unique device tag. This is based on your company settings. So if your settings is different than the NFPA standard, ePlan will adopt these settings and insert it into your symbol data. So here, the settings that I have for this project is based on the row number and the identification of this symbol, which is MTR to represent as a motor. Once I press OK, these information will be displayed on my schematics. As you can see, here's my motor, and here's the row number that this motor is placed on. Just let me select my settings here. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so now I have my motor placed on my schematics. I can double click on this motor later on, probably find out which part I'm gonna assign to this motor. I can easily go to my part tab here and use the device selection tab, which is filter the entire database that I have and give me only motor parts. So if I go ahead into my device selection, you can see that ePlan gives me 3 part motors. And these, not the only parts that's in my part database, these are the only motor parts that's in my part database. And usually engineers are very good in memorizing the part number because they use most of the time the same part again and again. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this motor, for example. Yeah. Once I select this motor and I press apply, all the parts data that's associated with this part will get attached to this symbol. So all the voltage, the voltage, the manufacturer data that's associated with this part will get applied into this symbol. Gonna press OK here, and you can see here's the data or the information that's in my motor. The more I put into this symbol, the more information will start displaying. I can make it a little bit more clear if I want. So if I go right here, yeah, and I don't need to duplicate these information, so easily I can just select one of these information instead of keeping one duplicated twice and so on. Now, this is the first method of designing with ePlan, the most simple method of designing with ePlan, which is designing by the symbol. Let's say I know exactly what's the part that I'm gonna insert on my schematic. Yeah, in this case, I can easily open my part database. Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my filter. I create a small filter here just for this demo. Yeah. And let's say I know the exact part that I'm gonna use for this design. I can easily drag and drop the part on my schematics, and you can see automatically ePlan pick the correct symbol for this. Yeah, I don't have to go into my symbol library and search for that symbol. I could just go ahead and drag and drop the part, and the symbol will come with it. Yeah, as soon as I hover across from that motor, you can see that the connection is generating or get activated automatically. Yeah, once I am satisfied with the position across from that motor, I can just go ahead and place it, and you can see even if I move it around, these lines will get updated or these connection will get updated automatically. Yeah, so the most important thing is to keep them on a same level. That's if you want to maintain a straight line. If you want to change the direction, let's say this is a little bit below, you can use these T nodes or these T nodes or these angles to reroute the connection to make it connect to this motor overload. So here, just back to my point, here we designed by the device because I knew the part number that I'm going to place in this. And as you can see right here, all the parts data comes automatically. Yeah. So if you can see the part number stored right here, and you can see a picture of that device, all the information that comes from the manufacturer itself. Yeah, so I'm 100% sure that these information are correct. And when I generate my bill of material, I know that this device will be in my bill of material and with the correct information. Now, before I move to the third step or the third way of designing with ePlan, I want you to take a look for a second right here. Yeah. When I hover over the connection, you can see that ePlan gives me the source and the target for each connection. Yeah. And if I take you a step back, we assign a part number here and here. So what I'm doing at this moment, yeah, this is the question. Yes, I'm designing. However, ePlan in the background doing tons of things for me. One of these things is building my connection report with a source and a target. Even the pen that it's attached to. So if I go to this one, it's connected to pin number 2. On the other side, it's connected to pin U1. So ePlan, I'm doing one thing, and ePlan in the background is doing tons of things. Also, ePlan is building my bill of material. We assign part to these symbols, so it's doing my bill of materials in the background. So this is the benefit of having all your project as one database. Now, let's continue building on this circuit. So I'm going to use the third way of designing with ePlan. The third way of designing with ePlan will be designing by macros or predefined circuits. So here I'm going to go ahead and place a phase power rail. Yeah. And I can, in the same macro, I can store several variations. So if I click the tab key, you can see I'm rotating between the two variants that this macro has. So I'm going to go ahead and select this variant. And once I click XY, ePlan knows exactly where to enter this macro. Once I press OK to complete my action, you can see here automatically ePlan generate these green text. So what is these green text? These green text is telling me that this power is coming from somewhere. So when I hold the control key and click on it, yeah, you can see that it took me to this page that tells me that the power rail that I just inserted, it's continuation of this connection. Yeah, same as here. When I click, I will go back to the page that we are creating together at the moment. Yeah, so I am showing you these things just to see the benefits of having the entire project database connected together. Now, once I'm satisfied with the power rail, I can easily connect it. Okay, I can easily connect it to the power rail just by dragging some T nodes. You can see easily placed, easily designed. Not so much effort to manage a connection here. Yeah, I'm going to continue building on this circuit by inserting more of this. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Right here. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do a power drop. And just like before, I'm going to use my X and Y. Yeah, and I'm going to ask ePlan to number my devices based on the position that it's placed in. So you can see now that this device is numbered based on the position. So this is placed on 6410, and you can see the 6410 is got adopted here. I can go back and put a motor with a fan, just like so. And the devices are numbered automatically. And I'm going to put a transformer right below it. You can see all these devices get numbered automatically except for these contacts. The reason these contacts not numbered yet, because they are not the main device. So it's waiting on the coil, the host of that, these contacts, so it can get associated with it and adopt the device tag of the main device. A quick example of that will be if I open another page here, for example. You can see here's my PLC page. I'm going to go ahead and place this coil just with the same method that we did before. Okay, and I can just easily drag some connection from here, place them right here. You can see that this coil now placed on my schematics. I can go ahead easily find my device navigator, which is, it's telling me where this device is located. You can see that the coil right here has several contacts that belongs to it. Yeah. Now these are available for me because I just placed my coil and they are available to be used. All I have to do is just drag and drop these just like so. I want to do them in a straight line. Just like so. And you can see that these, just make a screen bigger. Yeah, you can see that these get a cross-reference too. So it's telling me where are the main devices located and what they are part of which part. Yeah, and on the other side, of course, if I click right here, you can see the cross-reference for each contact on its own. So here I could go ahead and click on it. It's located 6405. Okay. All right. Continue building on this screen. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and place more of the predefined circuits. Yeah. However, in this circuit, I want to show the power technology of macros. Here I have a circuit of a motor that carries several variants of the same motor circuit. Yeah. So with the same circuit, I have up to 26 different variants, and each variant has different categories or values for the entire circuit. So here I'm going to place this circuit, and ePlan automatically asking me what is the horsepower of this motor. So for example, I'm going to put a 10 horsepower for this one. Yes, number my devices. I can place the second one right here and say 25 horsepower, just to show you the difference between them. I'm going to place the third one here and put a 75 horsepower. And here, based on the horsepower of this motor, my entire circuit is getting updated. So if you take a look right here, this is a 10 horsepower motor. Yeah, the gauge of the wire is different. Yeah, and also the fuse right here is different as well. So here at 25 horsepower, it's 50 amp fuse. Yeah, with 8 gauge wire or cable. Excuse me. And here as well, so 10 horsepower with a 20 amp fuse. Let's say I made a mistake and this is not a 10 horsepower motor. I can easily right click and say assign a value set and just change that and say this is a 15 horsepower, and the entire circuit will get updated. This is the power of macro technology. You can customize your circuits however you want and eliminate tons of work and eliminate mistakes. All right, I will continue on this. You can see one schematics page took me less than 5 minutes to draw it all. You can see all the connections between my my schematics here, yeah, and not just the schematics, even the device itself right here, I can see the connections between them, yeah. So I'm 100% that I'm not missing or adding parts that don't need to be in my project or forget to delete. All these stuff is eliminated. Okay, now let's say I placed my circuits. My circuit is perfect. I need to number my wires. Yeah, I can go ahead easily and select a circuit or a page or entire project and go project data, connection, numbering, place. Just placing more of these connection definition points. I can select my circuit again and say connection enter designation. And you can see now that ePlan numbering all your connection based on your standard. Yeah, based on your settings, based on your schemes, however you like to number them, ePlan will do it for you. You can see here, this is the value what it was before, and now it will adopt the new number that's coming from your settings. You can, if you want, you can change that right now, or just leave it the way it is and press OK. You can see that each wire has, each wire has its own number. I've seen a question in the chat. Okay, is there a pre-built macro database to pull macros into a project? So we can, ePlan, when you install ePlan, we can provide you with some of the macros. So something like this to look at it and see how is it designed, what is the data behind it, and how it was configured. Yeah, every company is different, and ePlan is a very wide platform. Yeah. We won't be able to make circuits for every individual companies. Yeah, so the macro is something that you design specifically for your company. So you are going to design a circuit anyway. Yeah, when you design your project or schematics, you will design your circuit anyway. It will be very easy once you complete your design. You have 100% sure, you are 100% sure that this circuit is perfect, and you think you're going to use it again. All you have to do is just select the circuit, yeah, just like so. Right-click and create window macro, symbol macro. Once you do that, yeah, you can see here, you can specify the variant of this macro. You could tell it to be stored in your database. So I'm going to go ahead and call it this maybe XYZ, for example, and I'm going to put it in my, yeah, this is fine. I'm going to put it right here. Once I press OK, that's it. My macro is saved. You can see XYZ now is available for me. And here's all, here's the circuit, everything that I selected, even the connections, it was selected. You can see that this one is stored. I'm going to put it on the side right here so you can just see it. Yeah. And of course, all the configuration is stored with it. Yeah. So it's very easy. What it's gonna take time to build this macro database, yeah, but you design in your circuit anyway. Why not make a use of it for next time? So this is a very easy software to work with. It's not very complicated, yeah, and it will work very hand hand by hand with you to be more efficient. Okay, perfect.
Hey, Narelle, there is one other question. It says, please cover terminals. I have a hard time tracking the designation I have already used and often end up using the same terminal multiple times.
Okay, sure, no problem. I will do that. This question is, these things is very easy to solve in ePlan. Yeah, so here, if you take a look, I have terminals. So the best thing or the magic about ePlan, everything or most of the things that we have in ePlan has its own terminal. So you can easily target it and see how it's acting into your project. Yeah, you can easily look at the terminal strip navigator. Yeah, and select any terminals you have on your schematics and say synchronize selection. Now watch the magic. Automatically ePlan open that terminal strip for you in the navigator. You can see how is this terminal is acting in your project. If the designation, for example, if I double click on this terminal, which is what we opened, yeah, if the designation is not what you want, yeah, you can easily select that terminal and say number terminals, yeah, and set up your own designation to achieve the goal that you're looking for. Also, if you take a look at maybe if I have, we'll give it a shot. I will open this one just to see. You can see if I open my edit in table window, I can see all my terminals. I can jump my terminals, yeah, without even showing it on the schematics. I can show it on my schematics, or if I don't want to show it on my schematics, I can do that as well. I can jump my terminals. Now these two terminals are jumped together, yeah. I can keep track of my terminals, where they are connected. Of course, this table is also modified, so you can add more information into this table or delete information from that table. It's up to you, yeah. But here, the information that's available for us at this moment, and you can see all the terminals right here with no issues. Yeah, you can also your designation right here as well, number it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just show you a quick one. I'm gonna start with value number 1 and increment as simple as that. Yeah, you can see right now it's 1, 2, 3. The PE is remained unchanged. That's because when I number it, I say PE do not modify, leave it the way it is. Yeah, if I say number it, it will go under that. Yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way to 12. Yeah, and you can also say I want to number them page-based, like sorting, cable-based, all these good stuff. That's all depends on your settings. I'm going to cancel. I don't want to save my action. Yeah, and this is how easy you can manage your terminals in ePlan. And of course, these things is the terminal subject is very, very wild. It will not be covered during this demo session, but ePlan offers many trainings. So we have the basic trainings, and we have a class specifically for terminal where we go over multi-level terminals, terminals with settle jumpers, all these good stuff. ePlan will back you up with trainings and consulting to be more efficient. And once you are satisfied with the circuit or the way the terminal looks, just like I mentioned, it's as simple as selecting the circuit, right click, create a window macro, just like we did a minute ago. Okay, all right, let's continue. Now, I'm done with my design. Let's say I am completed with my design, and it's time for me to harvest all this good work that I put into my project. If you remember at the beginning when I said ePlan is doing tons of things in the background. Yes, you design in the circuits, but ePlan in the background is building your connection list, your bill of material, all this good stuff. Now, there's two ways you can see reports in ePlan. One, when you generate it within the project. The other one, when you export these reports as a PDF or export it as an Excel file. So the first one we're going to go over is generating reports within ePlan. So I can go Utilities Report Generate, and here's the list of reports that ePlan can generate. Yeah, you can see tons of reports available for you. So for example, PLC addresses overview, PLC cards overview. This is a very important report that customers ask for this because it will help them a lot for the when they troubleshoot or build in their cabinets. Terminals connection diagram, terminal strip overview, or maybe connection list or cable overview, connection list or cable overview, summarize part list, which is the bill of material. Yeah, all these good stuff, it's available for you. Now, for this specific project, I only picked these specific reports. So I don't want to overcrowd my project. I wanted to make it as simple as possible so you can see the result easier. So I'm going to select my project and click the gear and watch the magic. Yeah. Just take a couple seconds to run through the entire project, and that's it. Once I close this window, you probably notice that ePlan added some more sections here. We're going to go one by one with these sections. Yeah, so if I double click on any of these bill of materials, for example, you can see the part number, the order number, the quantity of that part, the description. Even if there is a picture associated with this device, ePlan will show it to you. Manufacturers, and if there's a link attached to that, if there's a link attached to that part, you can see now when I clicked on the link, it took me to the part itself. Yeah, this is all these information. It's up to you if you want to show it. So these reports are fully customized. You don't have to stick with this. But when you install ePlan, yeah, ePlan gives you tons of forms. Like you can look at it and see if you like it or no, or probably add some modification to it. Yeah. So in this specific form, it shows the part number and the order number, the quantity description, and so. Yeah, this is in the bill of material. So this is the entire bill of material list for the project. Yeah. Now, here's the cable reports. We have a cable overview. Yeah, which just shows me every cable and the length of each cable, and cable diagrams. Here we specifically target in each cable how many conductors in each cable. So let me pick a good one. They're all good, but I want to make sure that we get one that's have more informations. Yeah, that's of course depends on the part that you assign to the cable. Yeah, here you can see the source and the target for each cable. You can see here if the end attachment to that cable, the color of that cable. Yeah, and here you can see the cable device tag showing of that cable. Yeah, if I click on this cable, of course, it takes me to where this cable is placed on my schematics, so I can see all my connections. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's get to to the terminal reports. So we have two type of reports here. Terminal strip overview. You can see all the terminal strip that's in your project, and a terminal diagram where each terminal specifically on its own you can see also, I'm going to show it has more details. So for example, like this one, yeah, you can see if there is a text surrounding that or function text surrounding that the terminal. You can see the target designation. If these terminals are jumped together, or if there's a two terminals that's jumped together, you can see the jumper on your report. You can also look where this terminal is placed on your schematics as well. Yeah, just like we did with the cable. Now, one of my favorite reports is the wire list. So the wire list here, it's individually showing you each wire or each connection that's in your schematics with the source. If I zoom in just so you can get a better view of this, yeah, the source and the target for each connection, the length of this connection, the color of this, the number, and the end termination of this connection. So imagine instead of going through a 10,000 page project to build a cabinet, you have this connection list where it's telling you exactly where this wire is going to do, exactly what's the gauge of this wire, and the length of this wire. And you can just one by one go in from the source to the target and build in your panel easily. One last thing I want to show you, or before we end the session, when we were looking at the cables, or when we were looking at the schematics that we built together, we saw the connections between the devices. And for example, if you remember this coil right here, we saw the connection between this coil and its children, or the contact that belongs into this coil, right? So this applies on the entire project of ePlan. So if you take a look at the top right here, we probably didn't go through all of this, but I will go through it with you. You can see all my schematics, my fluid diagrams, my PNID, all is in one project, yeah? And all these PNID symbols are, or loops, connected somehow. If there's a sensor or a valve, it's connected somehow to the fluid diagrams or to the electrical drawings. So for example, if I take a look at cable topology, which is representing the entire system here, I can see a proximity switch or a motor right here, and that motor takes me to where is it located into my schematics. So I can design my entire system into ePlan, and that representation will be showing me the schematics and the overview of that symbol or that part. Here I can see the system overview page, yeah, and I can click and see, for example, this is a proximity switch that's located here. Yeah, I can click on that proximity switch and easily see how is it wired in my electrical drawing. Yeah, so the entire project data will be stored as one database in one project. So you don't have to keep opening file again and again. All of that is stored in one project. Another thing is your 3D representation also is included into your project. So if I go ahead here and open my 3D navigator, you can see my hydraulic flow system, and I can see my main control panel. I can open my main control panel just like so. Yeah, take a look at my control panel, move it around and see what's inside it. And of course, I can show my my mounting panel, I look at these devices that's in my mounting panel. So if I have a device here, I can highlight that device and click the F key on my keyboard, and it will take me to my schematics and tell me where's this device is wired in my schematics. Yeah, I can look at my control panel as a whole and see if all my components is fitting in one cabinet or no, or if I need more adjustment, or maybe I need a smaller control panel or a bigger control panel. Yeah, this is all done with ProPanel. With the next session, my colleagues, he will go over ProPanel and what's benefits of ProPanel. Yeah, and he will show you the connection between ProPanel and P8 and what type of data we can export out of ProPanel. Also, before I end this session, out of these 3D representation, I can extract my 2D. Yeah, here I can see the 2D representation of my control panel, and this is generated automatically. You don't have to put any efforts in it. You can see here the drilling pattern, and here I can see my control panel with the enclosure legend. You can see the bubbles for each device and the description. I really don't want to show you how I can generate these automatically, because I want you to go ahead and join my colleague's session for later, and he will show you tons of things that ePlan ProPanel could do for you. You can go and help about, and you can, help content. Yeah, and here you can see that ePlan open the help file for you, and you can type in anything in the search field, and ePlan will filter that for you. You can see the news of ePlan, an overview of ePlan, and here it's very well divided in sections. Here, the common functionality that ePlan, here's ProPanel functionality, specifically for ProPanel, Fluid, pre-planning, and ePlan View. Not least, I will go over on how to export reports out of ePlan. Now, we saw the generation of ePlan reports inside the project. Now, how can, if I'm interested to see a bill of material as an Excel file, how can I do that? Is it easy with ePlan? Which type of information I can see or view in the Excel file? I can easily do that by selecting the project or a page or a section. Yeah, go into Utilities, Manufacturing Data, Export Labeling, and here I can see that this is a settings that it's stored for me. I can say I need a bill of material or a connection list if there is any, or a cable diagram. It's up to you, whatever you want to export. Yeah, but this time is one at a time. We can't generate the entire report sections in once. So now I'm just gonna do the bill of material as once, and I'm gonna say export and start application. You can see here, I can see the name of the project on the top, and you can see the properties here: part number, order number, total amount, number of units, manufacturer name, and designation, which is a short description. Yeah, here's all my part number, order number. So sometimes the part number or the number that you send to the manufacturer is different than the part number that you use in ePlan. And here's the total amount, the manufacturer name, and the designation. And all these information is stored in your database, and it only filtered the one that's used in your project. Yeah. Now the question is, how is these part came into your part database or came into your project at the first place, right? So this is a, do you create them yourself, or how is that happening? Yeah, I will let my colleague Jennifer answer this question, and I will go ahead and demonstrate it. Go ahead, Jennifer.
So then this is where you would want to go ahead and launch the ePlan data portal, and which is embedded already into our software. So as Narelle says, then you can, once you're registered as a user, then you can manually, then you can search with, for either, there's different ways that you can search parts, or you can, if you know the manufacturer that you're looking for specifically, then you can go down to find the manufacturer name, and then you can go ahead and click on a manufacturer. So which one did, okay, we're going to choose Allen Bradley. And then you would scroll down to the product family that you're looking for. And in this case, you're talking about the circuit breaker, right? And then you go ahead and click on it. And then it gives you all the information that is available for this particular component. So if you go down to the features, you're going to see that this particular manufacturer is offering what we like to say different data depths. So we have commercial data, we have 2D information, and then we have a connection point or function template, from what I can see on there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yep. And then you're able to click this and then add it into your parts database if you would like to use it. So again, this is directly embedded into the our software. So this is really another unique feature that sets us apart from other people out, other types of software out there, is that, again, we work directly, that's the master data team works directly with our manufacturers to gather this information and compile it already as complete data sets, so then that you're able to then click and download it directly already into your project here. And you can import it directly as Narelle is showing. So again, this is a great benefit, again, to show that it saves time, not having to go and search. Really, that's the idea of the data portal, so that you can find and not have to search for product information and component information.
Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is import this once into your internal library or internal database, and then you can use it as many times as you want. So you don't have to go into the data portal and import this part every time you want to use it. You can, but this is the more efficient way is to import it once, and it will live into your internal part library as long as you want it, unless you go ahead and delete it. Yeah. And this is the benefit of having the data portal. The data portal, just like my colleague Jennifer said, all the parts on the data portal, the manufacturer, the mother manufacturer of these parts are the one who maintain these parts. They are the one who check these parts, put these data into these parts, design the macro of these parts, the 3D graphic of this part. So you are 100% sure that most of these information are correct because they are coming from the manufacturer. You can also rate the parts. So if you see something that's abnormal of this part, you can rate this part, and you can send your rating to the manufacturer, and I'm going to rate it as excellent or remove my rating, and I can send reports to that manufacturer and say, hey, can you check this? This information is not available, or maybe it needs to be modified or something. Or if you see a manufacturer or a part that should be on the data portal and it's not on the data portal, my colleague Jennifer is the account manager for the data portal. She's responsible for that. You can send her an email and she will communicate with that manufacturer to see if they can add these parts to the data portal.
I hope you enjoyed the demo. Be sure to stop by our ePlan Experience booth at the Rockwell Automation Fair at home.
The ePlan platform includes products that are tailored to provide efficiencies in design and engineering of electrical and automation projects. ePlan has always been the tool that allows electrical engineers to excel and outperform the competition. Although ePlan may be part of your vision, you need to know for sure that it's going to work and that you'll be able to show your team. The ePlan guided trial team of experts can help you with this task. This test drive of sorts is not only free, but it includes a real project plan with guidance and support from an ePlan certified consultant. So what are you waiting for? Your journey starts here. info.eplanusa.com/guided-trial.
When we wake up in the morning, the world has changed again. And if change is the single constant of today, whether in automation, digital transformation, mechatronics, or electrical engineering, we should take change as what it is. Chance. Our mission? We want to design the future of engineering. Designing the future means being open to everyone and every idea. We connect engineers, systems, data, and disciplines worldwide for machine and panel builders. Designing the future means empowering. We empower engineers all over the world to realize their ideas. Our tools and solutions enable you to maximize your efficiency, customized to your needs, from simple to high-end. Designing the future means being future-proof. We lead the market with more than 50,000 customers and with 19 languages. We offer local support in more than 50 countries. This makes us the global partner for you and your future success. Because efficient engineering is when a plan becomes ePlan. Collaboration means being close to our customers, listening to your needs and your challenges, and understanding how we can help you to plan and shape the future. Let's ePlan.
Hello everyone. I want to welcome you to this session with Roland Young from EPLAN Canada. This presentation will focus on connected manufacturing, where we will explore the role of the EPLAN software in the panel builder's journey, from design to delivery. Roland, the floor is yours.
We actually started today an interesting blog, and I'm just thinking out loud here. I saw this morning, is why should you work with the digital twin? Interesting is this blog here on the ePlan UK website talks exactly about this. Why should we do this all digitally? Well, not only from a design perspective, it's more interesting. As you can see, I'm not even in ePlan. I'm basically here on ePULSE. It's our cloud with eView free, so that everyone can actually look up the details, and you can even go and dig a little bit deeper in. If you are interested in information about this MER part, you can click here on the ePlan data portal, and by click on this here, you open here an additional page. So of course it tells me some details about my browser. But here is some interesting detail provided by the manufacturer on this component. So technically, this is really the digital part that the manufacturer gave me. And we can see here we have some extra information that can be handled. Now, of course, we have a WebEx case here where we want to go back. And there we go. So directly from the project, we go out there. Interesting also is when you look at schematics like this, you have what we call cross-references. And these cross-references, when you click on them, they are actually live. This means you can jump to the other page and you can see what is on that other page. So again, here I'm actually jumping over to a page where we have a couple of additional components. All these components were provided by MER. If we dig down and we dig into the schematic a little bit further, we can also see that we have some PILS components here. This is one interesting component that is presented today, the PZen gate. WAGO has also presented a couple of interesting objects, components. One of them being actually the Pro 2 power supply. This Pro 2 power supply, as we can see it here, if we open it, is also again provided by WAGO here. I believe this is going to be one of your questions for this event. What is WAGO presenting? The Pro 2 power supply. You can see that in this Pro 2 power supply, we have a 3D and a 2D representation. The 2D representation, I actually use it here for my schematic. Now, what I see also is there's a missing protection. Maybe what you want to do, and while we're here, why don't we just mark it up? We just basically mark up here the missing protection. So here, add a circuit breaker, maybe, or something like that. And of course, if you want to put more comments to this, we can also lock this redlining down by reviewing it and say, please add a 20 amp circuit breaker. And this is going to be a redlining that my users in ePlan will be able to handle as we move forward. So of course, I was just talking out loud here about different things, and here are some other items that were provided, PLC cards. As you can see, sometimes we draw in IC style, top down. Sometimes we draw left to right. It doesn't really matter in ePlan. ePlan is very flexible, has been around since 1984, as well serving the European market, the Asian market, the North American market. So we can pretty much do them all, it's not a problem. And let's see if the cross-references still work here. Yes, they seem to work. So if I work here on my cross-reference, I can see that I jump back and forth between the cross-references. So also quite interesting here is when you are troubleshooting. So technically, if you are looking for something specific, you can troubleshoot based on devices. So here in the GTD, in German the digital twin here that we're talking about, we have a bunch of components. Some of them more detailed, some of them less detailed, just with one single representation. So if I have an issue with that motor overload that is here, right, I can actually see details about the motor overload. I can even see it on a specific bill of material. This is a kitting list that we generate. What is a kitting list? This is the kind of list that you would provide any electrician to go and get all the parts that he needs. So we have here an image of the component itself. So if he's looking for that component in the tray in the stock room, he can actually find it very quickly. I mean, it's nice to have, it's not a must, but you know what? I did not even put any efforts into it because this component, this circuit breaker, this image that you see here is actually coming again from the data portal. Again, it's a smart component. I don't even have to create anything. It's no extra work to have these kind of details. Now, if I want to go back to my multi-line schematic, just go back to my multi-line schematic, and maybe what I'm missing here, as I can see it, is this component here is not yet placed on the panel. So basically, I'll just call it the 3D placement at this moment. This is just my title. More explanation is I could not find the panel layout position or the panel position of this component. Okay, so technically what I'm saying is that maybe he forgot to place it on the schematics and did forget to place it on the panel layout. We'll see how that works. Interesting. And as you can see here, as you move on and you see this, you can also put some green linings into these pages wherever you like what has been done. So technically, if you like the way this is represented and you're fine with it, you can actually put some green linings here and you can just basically say, this is cool. I'm just going to put a small checkbox here and you can see my name is there. So it's signed. My name, J-U-N-K, as you can see, is basically pronounced Junk. But junk doesn't go very well. So we use Junk, Y-O-U-N-K. But of course, when I sign officially, I have to sign with my real name. It's a German name, by the way. Fits very well here in this German Technology Day. So this project that is here on the web right now, that was basically for this virtual event, I can actually see all these comments inside ePlan. So let me just put this aside. So close it. And here's my ePlan. And inside my ePlan, I also have access to this same project. You can see here I'm inside ePlan. I have basically the project here opened, and this is the same project. I can now open the project, and interestingly is that as soon as I open the link to the ePULSE, eView, I also have a link to my two markups that I created here. And what's nice about this is I can now live see what was marked up. So here the first one was actually the comment, and I can see the details here, please add a 20 amp circuit breaker. How would we do this in ePlan? Well, we have two ways to do it. We can check out here if in the devices we have some sort of a circuit breaker. This could go, right? This is one way. So I want to show you different ways to work because, I mean, there is not one good or bad way to do things, right? So here, if I go to circuit and circuit breaker, of course, we have a couple of different circuit breakers that are listed. And these circuit breakers, we have different companies that can actually service us, right? This is one way we can do it. And we can pick a part number from here and place that part number. And this would be fine, okay? This would be perfect. The question, of course, if we need a 10 or 20 amp, in this case here, I don't necessarily see a 20 amp in the descriptions. So I'm going to show you the second way to do this. The second way is very apparent to what you do typically. You pick a symbol, right? Very simple like this. You say, okay, this is going to be a circuit breaker. Pick that symbol, place that symbol. Actually, by placing that symbol, let me just put that aside. Look at ePlan's wires. They cut automatically. They become two different wires. It's really nice. It does it actually for me automatically, right? So the other thing I can do now is go and check out some parts. Now in here again, I can access the same part library that I just looked at previously. And of course, if I move in here, I will not find the right part number necessarily that I wish to use. But what I can do is I can jump right away into the data portal at this point, right during the design. And I jump to the data portal. The data portal has over 200 and somewhat manufacturers. But of course, right now, as you can see, I'm filtering for circuit breakers. And I'm interested in Siemens as an example. And I'll see here how many circuit breakers we have. 800.
Has joined the meeting.
835 different circuit breakers. Now, maybe I want to drill down to a certain kind, or I want to make sure that I have here some 3D data, whatever. I can filter this out, but I still have 582. So this is really a big list here of components. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just switch it into a list view here, and I can display these same circuit breakers in this list here, and I can find the one that I'm interested in. Once I have found the component that I'm interested in, you can click on it, you can confirm, yes, this is the one that I want, exactly, and you can just pick the component, okay? If you already know the part number and you're an expert in Siemens, you can just type in the part number up here and boom, it's going to pick the part number. In my case, I was browsing through just to show you a little bit how this works, and it really downloads the part and saves the part information right into my system, okay? Now, if you want to see the parts that are available on the data portal, it's something that is very easy to do. If you go here to, let's say, your, this is just saving here as we move forward. So all the data is saved and everything is saved here. You can see like the description, if I enlarge this a little bit, everything is being saved. But for you as non-EPLAN users to actually access the data portal, you don't need anything special. You can just basically type in EPLAN data portal, and you can actually get access to the data portal as I just did. And here you can see all the different manufacturers that participate. One of these ones, Siemens as an example, or why don't we go to one that is actually part of the GTD, Waggle, for instance, has over 12,000 parts in here. Well, 117, well, even more. You can see 11,788 parts. Now, they are, of course, organized by part numbers, and you can find all these details just by dragging and dropping. So if you're interested in specific parts, you can just type in the value up here, and the part number will come out, just to see, you know, if the part that you're typically using is actually there. You can also list here a few more. I usually put it up to 500 because, or 200, because it's really long. You can see they're all there, okay? So of course, Waggle has an extensive range of parts, as well as Muir, Bosch, and all the other ones. And this is where I picked up these parts here that you can actually see in my schematic here. Now, just coming back to my revision here, remember, I actually assigned this part number. And now by having done this part number, I can go back here very quickly and say, okay, I basically approve. Okay, I'll just put it in there. This is the typical way when you have multiple steps. Big companies will always have to approve before they do it. And then I can actually write it as marked as done, okay? I would say half done. Why is it half done? Well, because I haven't placed it yet on the 3D, on the digital twin, right? The component was just added in here, but this guy here, this power supply, is really placed itself here in the digital twin. Now, I jumped right away into the GTD itself, but why don't we look at the overall digital twin? This is a smart panel. Every component in here is also linked back to the schematics. How was it linked to the schematics? Very easy. We make actually things easy in EPLAN. So what we do is we, let's say, focus on the panel layout itself, and then we can zoom in and we can check out the components. And we also have a list, a specific list of items that were or weren't placed in the schematics. We have this list here. We can even filter down this list to something like, I want to see everything that is not yet placed in a GTD. And of course, that circuit breaker we just talked about is here. This is the small circuit breaker we just talked about. It isn't placed yet. If I actually drag and drop it out, right, I just take that part number, just drag out, I can now see, okay, where could I place it? Here? Could I place it up there? Would it be nice to be down there? I can even actually activate a connection preview. This is interesting because when you do so, you can see, oh, hey, this component is indeed connecting between here and here. So would it be smart to place it there? Would it be smart here? There isn't really much room, but it could be nice. If I place it up there, I'm basically adding more wires. Well, why don't I place it where I originally intended to place it? This is where I want it. Boom, right there. And it's going to be placed. And of course, if I want to drill in and I want to see what kind of wiring is actually generated from here, you can see these are the wires that are actually being generated to connect all the wires. Now, I'm thinking a little bit further. I still have a couple of components out here that haven't been placed. One of them is actually a bus bar component. The bus bar components are interesting because we create these bus bars and we can just, as you can see, it auto snaps right into position there and it places a component right there. It disappears from my list. And now I just have to place a couple of leftover components. Let me just place this one here. Okay, I'm just going to place it. And I'm going to place it maybe a little bit further over here. And I know that this component back in the schematics, let me just jump to the schematics so you can see what I think about. This is the bus bar connection. It is actually to be connected to CB1, the CB1 that is there. So we have some wires that are connecting these two, okay? But coming back here, I'm going to drag it actually pretty close. I don't want to put it too far. And this type of component is actually a component, well, rather this component, that I would feed, but more with what we call here, let me just move this down so you can see it, with a free routing. So what this does, it basically takes the wires and puts them there. It's not nice because we can see it's a little bit torquey here on the edge. So maybe if we just take this component again and move it, delete it. We're not really deleting it. Don't be scared. It reappears here in the list. We're just removing it for the moment. And what I'm thinking of doing here very quickly is in this digital twin, I'm going to modify this stretch a little bit shorter like this, okay? And let's see if we cannot put another mounting rail, very similar mounting rail than this one here. You can see these are mounting rails, standard mounting rails from different manufacturers that have them, right? And I'm just going to place it here, but I'm going to place it vertically. And what happens when I place it vertically, I may actually help myself for the wiring. Let me see. I place this. You can see it actually rotates like this. Let's put it up there. That's even perfect. And let's do the connection again. Let's do the free routing. Boom. Ah, that's nice. Okay. Well, maybe these components here, they take up a little bit of space. They haven't been connected yet. So why don't we take those and make this space a little bit more like available, right? So this is something that you can easily just drag and drop, put over here, and have those ones connected there, okay? So it's not a problem. You just rearrange it. And this is really, I think, the big power of the digital twin, because now I can move, I can see if everything fits, and it does fit, and it makes a very nice drawing. So at this point in time, we have some overloads here. These overloads, I'm going to see if I can fit them here. So I hope to be able to fit them there. It's not long enough yet, So again, I shortened this a little bit too much. Let's just put them there. This is cool. This is a network connection, so we can also move this one over and put it next to other network connections here, right? And then we start again, and we just move it over. We place them 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that even the connections, the power connections, are actually nice and tidy. And I just have a few extras here that actually are placed there. Boom. And it's done. So I rearranged, this is my second edition. I rearranged my panel. I can now do the evaluation of the routing. I can actually look at all the wires and rebuild the wires and see how they all fit. This actually recalculated the wire length for the next step that we wish to use, is actually fabricate the wires and really in the intention of installing this panel entirely. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit the kind of production reports that I can generate to help the people down on the shop floor. Now, I'll let the system run here an update. We call it generate project update. In the meantime, I will actually very quickly just come back here to my PowerPoint presentation that I had. And this portion here is the so-called digital production process. So we're in step number 3. We created the virtual engineering with ProPanel 3D. So we created a 100% digital twin. We validated that everything fits because we actually could see it. We didn't have to really produce it to actually see it wasn't fitting. We adapted all our items, and now we can proceed with the digital production. Of course, the ducts and the rails, except for 1 or 2 ducts and rails, haven't been modified too much. Holes, I haven't really modified too many holes because I only added like a small portion of a DIN rail. But really where things changed is in the wire fabrication. And technically, if you really dig into this and you do stop with a stopwatch the production process and you check it out, how much time is actually spent on each of these different topics, you will see that in the process of building your panel, the wire processing and the wiring, these 2 items here, we can't see them very well, but these are 2 of the main aspects, is actually taking up more than 50% or 49% of your time. And think about it, cutting a wire, crimping a wire, putting on the correct label, and then place it on the panel itself takes a lot of time. So we can help you on that side. So on ePlan side, of course, if I go back here to ePlan, you will see this is a process that I don't necessarily have to touch. It actually runs in the background, and it updates all these different reports I pre-selected ahead of time. So some of these reports, starting with the very first one, will be used to generate a kitting list. A kitting list is nothing else than a simple list. And you can see here I have 180 pages right now in this project. I'll just drill it down to the GTD pages. Okay, so this means the panel that we're interested in, I named it GTD because that's our digital twin. And here is the first page that is interesting. The first page is actually here, this parts list. This parts list will actually show you all the parts one by one that have been placed in this panel. It's quite surprising that being able to place 25 parts in this list, that I have so many different parts in this one small panel. Of course, for every manufacturer comes most of the time a nice picture for the component, detail, so we can see here the detail of what you have to pick up. So when you go to the stock room, you know exactly what we're talking about, okay? And you can pick this and put this in a bin. The second aspect I was looking at, and we didn't really change too much on that side, was actually the the shortening here of these rails, you know. So technically, I didn't do much here, so no big deal, but it's updated. The documentation here is updated. You can see basically the different rails. You can see here the details. I could even add some more details if I wanted to, but my intention was actually not even to have anyone touch this, but to transfer this to a machining process that Andre will actually talk about a little bit later, right? So I didn't even want to do this by hand. But of course, let me just show you, if I have to do this by hand because I don't have the volume nor do I have the machine that we will be talking about, how can I actually put that data into a decent list that actually could help me? And in this particular case here, we're in our step number 2, and this is basically a form. It's the same information as the previous form, except if we zoom in, you will see a lot more details. On this one here, if I zoom in, you will see for every cable duct, for every DIN rail perforated, you will see its part number, you will see its length, its identifying portion, how I named it. So you can actually also go in front of a cutting machine and pre-cut these items. You don't need the machine, you could do it by hand. Okay, so these details are one-to-one updated based on what I did in the digital twin. If I change something, this gets changed automatically. From now on, this detailed list will be in this table here, and if I do any kind of change, the change will show up here. Then there is the cutout. Of course, some people talk about a drill template. This here is a drill template. Not only does it actually show you every hole for every component, including the reline that we have at the top there, it also shows you the details if you have to punch them manually. Of course, my intention is not to punch them manually. My intention is to take this project, send it over to the mod center, and inside the mod center, they can just run it on the machine. Andre will show you a little bit more details about this Perforex machine that takes every detail that you see here, chews it up, and drills the holes. So no extra time, but a delivered backplate, and better than this, even the front door. If you remember correctly, in the front door, we had a couple of components. These components required holes, and they are now in here, okay? Now, the other thing, last but not least, is actually the assembly part. The assembly part is where I concentrate on assembling the whole backplate. So, of course, if I look at the full-blown detailed view, like this view here, this view is nice, but it's way too detailed. Way too detailed. But why? Because I have way too many components on here. So let's change this view a little bit. I have a more adequate view. It's this view here. If you want to see the details, just zoom in on this and you'll see all the details. But technically, I have now here listed all the devices in a more readable format with a device tag, a position. So basically, you can apply the labels. I can also provide you. And you can put these components on here. And if you're curious about what component this is, just look up in the list here and I will tell you which component is what part number. So it's really a pick list for any of the electricians down on the shop floor to just place the components in the right spot, right? Now, this is, of course, the portion of assembly